I'm acting up on stream. I don't have any songs today. I don't know any music. There are 23 of you in here already who probably just saw that. Where I acted up on stream, and I'd like to apologise for that. Hello all. Oh, goodness me, Tony Soprano lover. Give it a rest. You've been harassing me all day. Hello, everyone. Hello. We got full screen camera right now, which doesn't look good because I've got a big ass spot on here. And I took my pimple patch off because I needed to shave. Hi, everyone. Let's go back to the scene. Discord keeping me right. Chris acting up. Hell yeah. Obviously a less exciting stream today. We've got a few options, and there's something I want to do and to cover, but once there's more of you in here, I'll say thank you for some of the donations I missed yesterday. Right, let's do the Wordle. I'll put it in live chat. Oh, fuck off. I was like, oh, there's an error in the podcast. I know what you're talking about, and I'm pissed. I'm pissed instantaneously. I'm really annoyed about that. No, I do not look like Sodding Jabotinsky. I am not a Jewish Polish man from the 1880s. It's not me. He's another guy. I do not believe in a concept of Zionism, referred to as revisionist Zionism. I didn't move to Israel. None of it's true. I didn't maintain a personal relationship with Meir Kahana. All of this stuff is sick, and it's come from your minds. Hit me up if you need skincare tips. Oh no, don't worry about that. My girlfriend is hot on that. What's on Ethan Klein's Reddit that I've got a spot on my face? Skincare routine. I wash my face once a month. Right, let's do a guess. Eggies. That's my guess. It's not a guess, obviously. We need to think of years. I'm going to start with because I'm going through the keyboard. Oh wow. Design. No, it can't be that. Adept. It has an E in it, and it has an S in it, sorry. What did you comment? It's a cult. Oh, I don't know if you were talking about me or... Skincare routine? Hi chat, only not to Chris. What have I done to... yeah, I've been acting up. I'm going to be on the Ethan Klein Reddit as this week's declared Nazi of the month. And I'll be going to prison for being rude to Ethan Klein and being able to not pay my $1 million fine for watching an Asmongold video on Reddit. Ooh, shade. No, we've used the A, so it can't be that. I think it does begin with this. Suede. Do you reckon it's that? Let's go for that. Ooh, it is something DE. Oh, it's slide. Could it be anything else? Is it slide? Is slide the only option that it can be here? Because I can't think of anything else. Can anyone come up with a different one? How have you been after yesterday? I mean, I am fine. Like, I was pretty fucking burnt out after it. I think it probably is slide, by the way, guys. I was pretty burnt out after it, and some of you were like, oh no, why'd you do it? I don't think anything is achieved via debate, by the way. I think everyone would go in with their preconceptions. Although the only thing I did do very well, in my opinion, was basically... I guess it could be snide as well, so those are the only two I can think of. But the thing I think I did well was to, like, keep it focused on theory rather than fact. Oh, it's snide, isn't it? Well, good guess. Yeah, nice. Spelling bee. I don't want to play spelling bee. I want to do the connections. That's the one I want. Spode, but that's not a word. Is it? I don't know. Clownfish. Honeybee. Zebra. And I was going to say that these are all characters from animated films. You were very calm, which I appreciated because I was freaking pissed off. Yeah, I mean, I just tried not to, I tried not to be as, like, sort of emotional as last time because I think you have a better impact on people. I just didn't want to leave it as the previous one either. The debate is up, so... We're actually going to do something related to this, which is siphon views away from my arch nemesis, who is overzealous. We're going to watch one of his videos because he recommended it. So I'm going to do that. And we're great friends, so I'm going to siphon all his views away. Leprechaun, unicorn, interesting. Tiger, they're all magical creatures. Tiger. Fivel. I don't know what that is. Loner Box is who I debated. Clownfish. Oh, toucan, a good one. Tiger, leprechaun, and honeybee. What? All cereal mascots? No, that's a good idea, though. I think they all are. Right? Is toucan? I'm stealing views away from my arch nemesis. I told you. Yeah, he's gonna sue me for copyright infringement on overzealots. Wait, is it consider, count, factor, include? Yeah, that was a good one. Wow, the sky looks insane. I'm not showing it to you, but it looks wonderful. Dorothy Gale, don't know who that is. It was okay. It was a long time, and I kind of just ended it at a point where I was just like, right, it's enough of this. But yeah, I don't think it went badly. No, it's not. It's not anything to do with the count. It's not cereals. I don't know what Asmongold. I don't know if Asmongold ever did that video. Oh no, it's not even sunlight. It's been a horrendous day today. It's very bad weather. It's just a beautiful sunset. Dorothy Gale. Tucson. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Wizard of Oz, but... yeah, through the water at the innocent green lady. Poor, poor, poor wicked witch. Why would it be all of these? Wonder. Why would it be toucan, tiger, honeybee, leprechaun? I'm really struggling with these. It's a hard one today. No, I don't think it is cereals. Fievel, Gale. Yeah, but leprechaun, toucan, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. Oh my god, yeah. That is a great one. Unicorn, rainbows. Wow. Associated with rainbows, yeah. Oh my god. What is this one? Beginning with 4, 2, 1. Ah. Right, let's get straight into stealing views from my dear friend Overzealots. I'm joking, by the way. I'm not stealing views. Overzealots, please, I love you.
Each time Israel has agreed to a Palestinian state, the Palestinian...
So, I'll show the original video. Oh, that looks interesting as well. The ultra-orthodox Defy draft. It was 4 days ago. And then Burbank Trading Card Shop has... we don't know what it has. But it has something. But yeah, this is the video. And I just want to watch it from this point. Because before the thing, I did prep, but I'm not going to lie. These have never been two of the points I've been most interested in.
Of the Oslo peace process was that it swapped out the obvious signs...
There he is. I know this guy. I've met him. He's an awesome friend.
...of military occupation for a quieter, more bureaucratic system of oppression, all while drastically expanding Israel's illegal settlements. In the years 2000 and 2001, we saw another set of supposed peace attempts in the forms of another Camp David summit and the Taba talks in Egypt, predicated on the Clinton parameters, respectively. These negotiations took place between Yasser Arafat of the PLO, Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak.
Ehud Barak looks so young there. Like, really so young. I suppose it was 25 years ago, but still.
And US President Bill Clinton. The mythology surrounding this era of peace negotiations goes like this. Ehud Barak made a very generous offer to the Palestinians at Camp David, but Yasser Arafat, due to his supposed love for violence over diplomacy, turned it down and destroyed any hope for peace. Then,
It's crazy as well because two people in this image are friends with Jeffrey Epstein.
Clinton came out of nowhere and offered the Clinton parameters as a last-ditch effort to salvage peace. These parameters were super great and totally fair for the Palestinians, but they still irrationally rejected the proposal at Taba in Egypt. This, like every other Zionist talking point, is bullshit. This narrative of the missed opportunity has been used ever since to absolve Israel of responsibility for continuing to oppress the Palestinians. But if we take a look at what exactly was being offered to the Palestinians during this period and analyze the accounts of the negotiators...
Has this photo been yellowed? Because why have they all got such yellow teeth? Like, look at Arafat and then Clinton there. Maybe everyone just didn't have turkey teeth back in those days. Now, we've definitely entered into an era where presidents need to have turkey teeth. It's basically my prerequisite.
...and analysts who were part of the Camp David process, we see that Barak's supposedly generous offer wasn't a genuine...
My favorite story about Camp David is that they invited everyone to play basketball at it, and the Israelis all showed up and the Palestinians didn't.
...genuine path to Palestinian...
They're in Mexico in Breaking Bad, hence why they've all gone yellow.
...Palestinian statehood.
Oh no, my teeth are stained as shit. I used to think it was from smoking all the time, but I quit smoking, so I don't know, I think it's drinking tea.
But rather a proposal for a fractured, non-sovereign Bantustan. Former Israeli Foreign Minister Shlomo Ben-Ami, who was a prominent actor in the Camp David peace negotiations of 2000, said himself that if he were Palestinian, he would have turned down the offer too. So
The reason apparently that he said he'd turn down the offer is because he was like, oh, the Palestinians knew that they could keep getting more.
Start by taking a detailed look at the Camp David summit of 2000, then we'll examine the also unfair Clinton parameters which set the stage for the Taba talks in Egypt, which ultimately failed, not due to Palestinian intransigence, but mostly due to external political factors on the US and Israeli side. At Camp David in 2000, the quote-unquote generous offer made by Ehud Barak proposed Israel's withdrawal from 91% of the West Bank. But don't let that offer trick you. Israel was working with a dishonest definition of the West Bank, not the internationally recognized one. Israel's conception of the West Bank left out key areas like massive Israeli settlement blocks, post-67 East Jerusalem, which is 71 square kilometers, the no man's land near Latrun, which is 50 square kilometers, and the Dead Sea's territorial waters, which is 195 square kilometers. By shrinking the map of the West Bank before talks even started, the offer was already undercut. It meant a future Palestinian state on, at most, 86% of the West Bank.
I don't like this guy. I think Ethan Klein should sue him.
Not 91%. The portion of land inside the West Bank that Israel intended to keep wasn't chosen at random. It contained the largest Israeli settlements, which were positioned to split the West Bank into several separate isolated areas. For Palestinians to travel between these areas, they would have to use special bypass roads built on land taken from them. Since Israel would control these roads, the Palestinian state would become a disconnected patchwork, unable to control its own travel and trade, which would ruin its chances of building an independent economy. And that's not even mentioning the unequal land swaps that Israel proposed. To make up for Israel taking what they dishonestly claimed was just 9% of the West Bank, Israel offered a land swap of just 1% of land within the Green Line, a lopsided 9-to-1 deal. And it wasn't just about numbers. The land Israel wanted to keep in the West Bank was fertile, sat on key water sources, and included strategic high ground.
This is largely... I also don't think it can be ignored that, like, the settlers enjoy so much more water in the West Bank and that this is very meaningful and important stuff.
Offered in return was mostly dry, degraded desert land in the Negev, far less economically valuable. The proposal said Israel would keep long-term security control over the Jordan Valley, which makes up the entire eastern border of the West Bank with Jordan. If Israel controlled it, the Palestinian state wouldn't have a real international border or control over its own crossings, leaving it effectively surrounded by Israel. On the topic of Jerusalem, the proposal gave Palestinians symbolic control over a few neighborhoods and religious sites, while locking in Israel's illegal settlements in the city. All in all, the Camp David proposals of 2000 envisioned a Palestinian state that would, in function, enjoy no sovereignty. The state was to be demilitarized with only a lightly armed police.
I like when we talked about this yesterday with where it was like, oh, what would happen if Israelis put down their guns? And it's like, hey, Palestinians have done that, and it's not very good, is it?
Force for internal security.
It's really insidious how many ties Epstein had all over the place. You know, there's also there's a map in Epstein's house which exists somewhere, and there's photographs of it that have never been made public of that Barak drew. So it's Barak's map.
Israel would retain total control over Palestinian airspace and the electromagnetic spectrum, so things like internet, radio, satellite, etc. This overwhelming control would mean that Israel would basically have veto power over the Palestinian economy, trade, and any dealings with the outside world. Wow, such a generous offer.
I also think at Camp David they were unwilling to recognize the Palestinian refugee problem as a creation of themselves. They said that it was just something that had unfortunately happened.
To be clear, international law deems transferring your civilian population into an occupied territory to be a breach of Article 49 of the Fourth Geneva Convention and a war crime. Ehud Barak's refusal to fully dismantle those settlements is in no way the fault of the Palestinians. His generous offer didn't even meet the very low bar of not doing war crimes. After the Camp David summit of 2000 ended in failure, Bill Clinton tried to salvage the peace attempts with his Clinton parameters. Now, to be clear, Billy was in no way interested in genuine peace or a fair settlement for the Palestinians. Even Aaron...
Him and Yasser Arafat were really good friends. Long live Turkey and Azerbaijan. No.
David Miller.
And yeah, I don't think you're wrong. I'm not getting sued by Ethan. I'm not a woman, so I'll have to work on that.
A U.S. negotiator during Camp David.
And so neither will Isaac, because he's not a woman, you know.
It admitted that America, for far too long, has been biased and acted as Israel's lawyer. Clinton was more so concerned with trying to cement a legacy for himself before the end of his presidential term, not with bringing justice to the Palestinians. The Clinton parameters were verbally presented in December of 2000 in the wake of the Second Intifada and just prior to the end of Clinton's presidency. These were US-conceived bridging proposals meant to save the Camp David summit and lay the groundwork for a final deal. They weren't the result of joint negotiations, just America's idea of what a compromise might look like. However, they unfortunately failed to remedy the fundamental flaws that led to the failure of Camp David just months prior. Although the Clinton parameters were a bit more generous in regards to how much of their own land Palestinians were allotted in comparison to Camp David, and territorial continuity was given some lip service.
I think also, by the way, in terms of one of the things that I should have mentioned yesterday, and one of the best ways I've ever seen this framed, is framing Palestinians as rejectionists is crazy when they accepted sovereignty on 22% of their land, and foreign settlers who came and dispossessed them, a state which Lonerbox himself said was stolen, that wasn't good enough for them. Like, you know, regardless of bizarre interpretations of international law, why is it not good enough as the colonizers to get 78% of the land? You know?
Israel was still allowed to annex territory in which they had massive, illegal Israel.
Transitioning just to get sued for the memes, an exceptional use of free will. Maybe. And yeah, I'm working on growing a big rack. Whoever said that, was that Pasta? Yeah.
Israeli settlements. This would serve to legitimize those illegal settlements instead of abiding by international law and
I don't think Bubba is Bill's first owner, but I don't know. I'll look into it.
dismantling them. The parameters made it clear that Palestinians would have to give up their right of return to the homes and land they lost in 1948. In return, Israel would only acknowledge the moral and material suffering of the refugees, nothing more. The plan focused on resettling refugees in the new Palestinian state, keeping them in host countries like Lebanon or Syria, or sending them to other countries. Only a small number would be allowed to return to Israel itself, and even that would be entirely up to Israel. In effect, the Clinton parameters aimed to erase a right recognized in international law, specifically UN General Assembly Resolution 194, which states that the Palestinians who were ethnically cleansed in 1948 have a right to return to their homes and property, or, if they choose, be compensated for what they lost. Clinton wanted the Palestinians to forget about that in exchange for, what, a token gesture of sympathy? The Palestinian state outlined in the parameters was meant to be non-militarized, yet Israel would have the right to deploy its forces into designated areas of Palestinian territory during a vaguely defined national security emergency, as well as maintain 3 military intelligence gathering facilities in the West Bank, a clause that seriously undermined Palestinian sovereignty. Nonetheless, instead of outright rejection, Yasser Arafat, acting on behalf of the Palestinian side, agreed to consider these parameters with reservations.
Is anyone in here Palestinian? Because I find it interesting how to think about Arafat. Like, I think Arafat is someone who betrayed the Palestinian cause in many ways and arguably did it just so he could regain legitimacy, is one argument I've heard. But then also, many people who I know who are Palestinians don't feel so negatively about him, you know? Like, some do, some don't. I wonder what everyone feels in here. Why did you decide to go on with the debate for 4 hours? Do you think it was worth? I think it was worth in the sense of there's no longer, like, the only option of seeing me talk to Lonerbox is one that people were just going to be like, you shouted and screamed the whole time and wouldn't have bothered ever listening or thinking about any of the things that were said there. And I think I gave a way better account of myself than I did previously. And I think I may have worked to show, like, even that moment at which, you know, Lonerbox really didn't have a response to the whole thing about relitigating the Great March of Return and why that's so problematic, you know? Khura... What did that say? Khura Aliyeh. What does that mean? If I listen to enough Riyad Awad, can I become Palestinian? Maybe.
So when Hillary Clinton goes on Morning Joe and says that Arafat outright rejected this offer...
This offer was...
Oh, shut up, Isaac. Hillary Clinton is speaking. Sit your male ass down and learn.
...made, and if Yasser Arafat had accepted it, there would have been a Palestinian state now for about 24 years. It's one of the great tragedies of history that he was unable to say yes.
She's doing what she does best. Bullshitting. Arafat agreed to accept these parameters as a basis for further discussion, but he refused to waive the Palestinian right of return, among other things. The Israeli side also...
I think there's also, by the way, this thing of like, how could, and I think that this is another thing, how could Arafat accept anything that was such a capitulation beyond Oslo? And yeah, I'll be Pokemon going to the polls. I'll be Pokemon going to the polls and voting for the continuation of our current system.
So agreed to proceed with reservations of their own. Discussions surrounding the Clinton parameters took place in Taba, Egypt, between Israeli and Palestinian negotiation teams.
They had to go to Egypt. I would not enjoy that. Only Sharm el Sheikh. Don't read that, Chris. I'm sorry I read it, but what can you do? Hello, Killian. Hello, MKMT25. Hope you're all doing well. Nice to see you all, guys.
However, due mostly to both the end...
Why don't y'all Pokemon go to the Taba negotiations? Oh my god. We had this lecturer who... He was really funny. There's a video of him online where he goes, so I was in Tangier, and I was talking to the youth, And oh no! And he always used to say that shit whenever I talked to him. Lefty Pole here. Oh my fucking god. Wait, I read a Balfour quote today that I was genuinely in awe of. So did you know that the League of Nations couldn't get something passed? They tried to get something passed that was like all human beings were created equal. Do you want to hear what Lord Balfour, the creator of the Balfour Declaration, said? The claim that all men were created equal, Balfour objected, was an 18th century proposition which he did not believe was true. The Darwinian revolution of the 19th century had taught other lessons. It might be asserted that, and then this is him speaking again, in a certain sense, all men of a particular nation were created equal, but to assert that a man in Central Africa was created equal to a European was to Balfour patent nonsense. To this remarkable broadside, Colonel House offered no immediate rebuttal. He was not about to disagree about Central Africa. They basically couldn't agree or get the British to agree to the notion that all human beings were equal. And this is the guy who signed the Balfour Declaration. It's truly amazing.
End of Clinton's presidency and Ehud Barak's prime ministership, the talks ended without an agreement. The narrative that emerged from this was largely the same familiar finger-pointing toward the Palestinians.
Arafat was the leader of the PLO and basically abandoned all the negotiations.
Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Do not start saying that I look like him. Who is this guy?
That made those things possible.
As if it were their fault for Taba and the Clinton parameters' failure. The common Zionist phrase, "there is no one to talk to about peace on the Palestinian side," began to make the rounds during this period in an attempt to place the blame solely on Arafat and the Palestinians.
I think also yesterday, one of the other things is that they said, one of the other things that's interesting is like, categorically, I think that the best work I've read on peace that that comes from people like Seth Anziska, someone who himself was a Zionist until, he started studying what was going on in Palestine. His narrative around peace negotiations, looking at internal diaries, is like, the PLO were ready for peace like a long time before Israel was. And by this point, I think you needed an unequivocal withdrawal. Like, the other thing is that Arafat signed the Oslo Accords, arguably as well, which some people criticize him for, is because he wasn't in the, because he would never lived under the occupation, and like these settlements were altering people's lives. I think it would be nice to have a summarized perspective on the debate where you go over the main points of argument and give the sources that refute the propaganda. That would be interesting. Picking through, I guess, all that at this time would take ages. But I think as well, there was something which I didn't really address, which is kind of like Hezbollah and what the Hezbollah were doing in the 2000s. Israel had occupied Lebanon for 18 years. Hezbollah and groups like them were premised on the notion of liberating Palestine. Palestine was not liberated. The situation there for Palestinians was worsening. So their actions are not really all that surprising. And I just saw what you said, mediocre violist. I'm a Palestinian, Canadian. Second part's bad, like the first part. I'm a few minutes behind. Honestly, Arafat isn't some hero to me, but he's not a villain. Yeah, I think that's quite a reasonable perspective. Chris, you look like if Stuart Little went political. Right, brilliant. What would Stuart Little be doing political?
However, dishonesty of this statement aside, it leaves out all the times when Israel assassinated perfectly viable Palestinian candidates for peace, such as the secular, leftist poet Ghassan Kanafani, who was believed by many to have been able to lead the Palestinians to justice. Maybe the reason Zionists feel as though there isn't anyone to talk to on the Palestinian side is because they keep murdering them. Killing those sympathetic to the Palestinian cause is nothing new for Zionists.
Don't say that I look like this guy either. Stop saying that I look like people. I don't look like them.
This is a practice that can be seen all the way back in 1948 when a member of the Zionist terror organization, the Stern Gang, assassinated UN-appointed mediator Count Folke Bernadotte for the crime of merely suggesting that the partition should allot more land to the Palestinians since they made up the vast majority of the population. In direct contrast to the Zionist narrative of barbarous, intransigent Arabs, historian Avi Shlaim, in his book The Iron Wall, actually makes the case for the opposite. He argues that it was Israel that was uninterested in peace, while Arab leaders were. The files of the Israeli Foreign Ministry burst at the seams with evidence of Arab peace feelers and Arab readiness to negotiate with Israel from September 1948 on. It's worth mentioning that just because we emphasize the need for peace,
there's also one mentioned by Segev, which is a guy called Colonel Husni Zaim, I think. Maybe I've just made up his name. No, his name is Husni al-Zaim. He looked like an odd guy. Don't say I look like him. Don't say I look like this guy. Don't start it. I don't want to hear it. But this guy was like he basically was installed in a military coup. He wasn't in power for long, but he offered peace to Israel, and Israel didn't take it. Also, in 2002, Israel was offered peace with the entire Arab world if it withdrew to the six-day borders. So, like, they could have got it at points.
That doesn't mean we should forget about the pursuit of justice. Palestinians have been horribly wronged and deserve to be met with a just peace. Funnily enough, disgraced Zionist stream...
Mussolini Light. Hello, Sophie. Hope you're all well. Get more Mort vibes from DreamWorks hit film Madagascar from Chris. Thanks for that one. That's a lovely thing to say. Fuck you.
Destiny has shown in the past that he understands peace without justice shouldn't be the end goal. When the topic switches from Palestine to Ukraine, then he's able to grasp that justice is what should be strived for, not peace on its own.
Peace is not really what anybody's looking for, and peace is a very naive thing. Like, there was peace in America when we, had slavery.
First time I ever was actually listened to Destiny, and he said that people don't really want peace, they want justice. I nearly the single stoic Slavic tear fell from my eyes.
Ukraine should be supported for as long as they want to fight. Fuck Russia. You can't just invade other countries.
But when we switch the topic back to Palestine,
Palestinian people don't really seem interested in a peace. Seems like they're still interested in fighting.
I guess this...
By the way, I just do think that the West Bank blows this apart. Like, you literally have a society that is largely premised on international aid, entirely controlled by the state of Israel in the West Bank, where Abbas engaged in a policy called the one-gun policy, pretty much took away all weaponry. And I thought that there was no decent or any kind of meaningful counter to this. And I can't even fully explain to you, like, the Palestinian Authority in a situation like that, or life in the West Bank. The best book to read about that is Neoliberal Apartheid by Andy Clarno, because he lived there. And it's really interesting.
Is what happens when you don't stand for anything and just conform to whatever the political party of your choosing says at any given moment. I never hear Destiny or any other Zionist...
What is this picture? I mean, this picture is terrifying. There was some Ethan Klein stuff that is kind of worth looking at, but yeah, I mean, unless something has changed. Sorry, I'm accidentally... It is utterly ridiculous. I'm now accidentally watching the wrong thing. Here we go. Chris, what day is it? It's Tuesday, innit? Is that nice? Did I do the little dance for you?
Ever praised the 2002 Arab Peace Initiative, which offered Israel what it claimed to have wanted all along: peace, recognition, and healthy, normal relations with the Arab states, all in exchange for Israel merely acting in accordance with international law, meaning full withdrawal of illegally occupied territories, accepting the establishment of a Palestinian state with a capital in East Jerusalem, and respecting the Palestinians' internationally recognized right to return. Honestly, the Arab Peace Initiative reads as too much of a compromise for my liking, as it embraces a liberal Zionist stance and a two-state solution, yet Israel still outright rejected this offer. In the summer of 2020, the Abraham Accords were announced.
Okay, you've seen me and Isaac talk about the Abraham Accords, and I don't like them, so that's my opinion. I want to watch this New York Times video quickly. I think it's a nice way to get into the start, and also I can interact with chat better. But also, thanks for the £2, by the way, Dwight Langston. Also, I have a ton of donations that I need to address from yesterday, so I better go on Streamlabs and do that. I better look at the events that have occurred recently on my Streamlabs. My events got loads of girlfriends. That's probably the events that happened on there. It'll tell me X person subscribed. Live actions, giveaways. That's not what I wanted. Kenya gifted 10 memberships yesterday. Thank you for that. So Shane Foster asks, what harm came to civilians on ships blocked by Yemen? You could probably argue a bit of psychological distress. Israel, Ansar Allah only target ships. Liarbox is not a leftist. Yeah, I did think it was interesting that we didn't actually get an answer as to how many people had died as a result of the ships targeting. Also, there was a brilliant comment. The key word are that they are systemic problems. I think that this is kind of the thing that I really think is so important. And this was from Reprodruxian. The key words are their systemic problems. Yes, I think that was what I tried to make clear over and over again. OMG, based answer, thank you. That was from Columbia Recon 31. €2 for abandoned capitalism, frying Loner Box's brain. Thanks for the €2, Helfer Michelle, as always. But yeah, I think that one of the things I do have to say about that is that, like, I find it imagining an answer to really complex questions when the main answer that I believe in is abandoning capitalism. Like, look, I'm not enough of an expert in communism to say I think 100% we should be, moving straight away to communism. But what I am enough of an expert in is capitalism's total failure as a system to provide for human beings. And I know the way in which we move beyond that, which is that no more shall we ever live in a society where like we are dominated by a society that prioritizes profit over people. Lonerbox goes into a racist rant because he got nothing. As a minority here in the US, proves that genocide defenders doing this because they are racist. I mean, yes, in terms of the context of the idea that Arabs could not live with minorities. Do you not think as well, and like I should have made this point clearer, like a lot of sectarianism in the Middle East is premised on governmental treatment and oppression coming from that much more than like Sunnis just can't stop killing, fucking Shia or anything to that effect. Talk about the lack of water rights in the West Bank. Well, I guess we did talk about that. To support, and then there was... Mulburns has become a member. Oh, no, wait. This is just people who become members. That was... Okay, I've now lost all of the things. But thank you, everyone who donated yesterday. And thank you for all of these commentaries. YouTube featured. Well, I mean, the channel is growing. But yeah, I'm glad that you guys like it. I don't want to read Arabic or Persian because I don't know what you're saying. That's also definitely... You've already tricked me once, Onion. Capitalism simply does not work, and the world refuses to accept that. Yes, I think that it does, but also... I think that, like, a lot of the hardest evidence of capitalism's failure, people would rather accept as fantasy than confronting the fact that our current trajectory cannot fix major problems around us. Like, it is a traumatic thing, the way in which the world is heating up, the weather is changing, and all of these things, and it's much easier to go, no, scientists are all fucking idiots, than actually confront what the problem is. Let's get into this video.
Israel's ultra-Orthodox Jews are angry.
They're angry because they've seen Ethan Klein's horrible videos about them.
For the first time in decades, the community known as the Haredim is being called to serve in the country's military.
צבא צריכים להבין, וזה לא יעזור להם שום דבר, יעשו חוקים, אנחנו לא עוזבים את הלימוד תורה.
Their enlistment has become one of the most divisive political debates in the country. At the heart of the debate is the community's size. The Haredim's population has surged in recent decades, and their numbers keep increasing.
This is such a big problem for Israel. Like, how do they ever see any way forward through this? Like, how do you fix this internal contradiction without just continuing mass killing of Palestinians? Because, I mean, in my understanding, the reason that Haredim and, like, these sects don't serve is because they want to study Torah all day. And, I think it's better than killing Palestinians, so... Well, it was so funny because do you remember when Hila Klein was like, Yoav Gallant is a really good guy? Do you remember when she said that? So she knew about the thing vis-a-vis the ultra-Orthodox, but she didn't know, apparently, that he was at all who Yoav Gallant was. And I feel like less people know about this than the general behavior of the state of Israel.
המצווה הראשונה, מתורה. כן. היום עוד הרבה יותר להמשיך את השושלת היהודית. אין ויכוח על זה.
It's a big day for Benjamin Pappenheim. His granddaughter is getting married. For the ultra-Orthodox, starting a family is an act of faith. Pappenheim himself has 67 grandchildren.
Jesus fucking Christ. 67 grandchildren is crazy.
שזה יום קדוש. בשבילו זה יום קדוש, הוא הקים בית למקום.
When Israel was created in 1948, the country's secular leadership wanted the Haredim's backing for the nascent state. The government largely exempted them from mandatory military service and gave them funding to study religion full-time. The Haredim were a small community then, but have since increased to make up nearly 14% of the population. As their numbers grew, so did resentment among other Israelis forced to serve in the military. Then in 2024, against the backdrop of multiple conflicts, including the war in Gaza, the Supreme Court canceled the exemption. The Haredim were furious, but their anger hasn't stopped the draft notices.
Hello? אל תיבהל, יש עוד 10,000 איש כמוך. דבר ראשון, לא פותחים דלת ומיד מתקשרים אלינו לשלוחה 4. אני לא אומר זה סתם, אני אומר זה בתוך הניסיון שלנו.
Pappenheim.
I knew you were going to start going 6-7 because you're all children on the internet who bully me, who say I look like X person, who try and get me to say burgers, who try and get me to do this, who try and get me to do everything. My life is difficult. This guy, though, has 67 grandchildren. Like, just a serious question here. What do you do when you have 7 grandchildren? What do you actually do? Like, do you get to know them all? Hila is an expert on Israel, after all. She was born there. Until she accidentally reveals her true perspective that Yoav Gallant was a really good guy, then she doesn't actually know anything. One day I'll have a soundboard and I'll just play that for like 10 hours a day. Low-key happening in the US. They want babies but no maternity support, no childcare, no good living standards. Yeah, I mean, I was talking to someone about this and I think they thought that I'd gone a bit crazy and had just started like being against Jewish people. When I started to learn about like the fact that there are like huge amounts of Jewish communities in New York who don't learn English, who kind of just like exist there, who are just living in separate schools. Like, it's kind of like, okay, fine. Like, I think that we can all exist in societies together. I don't think we should target people on the basis of their ethnicity or pretend that the state shouldn't protect people who want to engage in, like, you know, religious practices. It's their prerogative. But I do think, like, on a base level, with any state, you should be like, right, kids do have to learn to a certain extent like basic skills in life so they can make a choice as they grow up, you know, that people should be taught like the language of the country, or there should be like, that should be something that the government offers, because, you know, if you're living there and you change your mind about what you want to do, I think you have to have that, you know. And I think it's so interesting, like learning about New York and that kind of stuff.
Is an activist with Am Kadosh, one of the Haredi organizations leading the opposition to conscription.
חושבים שהתרומה לעתיד העם היהודי, שזה לימוד התורה, יותר חשובה מהתרומה הזמנית, שזה הליכה לצבא.
We all need to share the same rights and same burdens.
Like many other non-Haredi Jewish Israelis, Liat Weiss-Shahaf is frustrated by how few of the ultra-Orthodox have enlisted so far. For the former soldier, the issue is personal. Her
You must kill the Palestinians.
17-year-old daughter, Ella, is months away from joining the ranks.
For us, for an Israeli to send their child...
Here's a tip. Don't serve in a genocidal apartheid military.
...to the army is kind of complex feeling, because we believe that this is our circle of security and this is the army of the people. Everyone should serve, and they are not doing that, so it's a kind of feeling of betrayal.
By the way, this is like, it's so funny that like Hila and Ethan portray themselves as pro-Palestinians when this person literally has the same views as Ethan. Like, as Ethan and Hila.
התכנסנו היום פה בשביל לדבר.
Here in the States, no? If anyone wants to leave, they might not have any of the necessary skills. Yeah, and I think that that's like the difficult thing. I just think I think that, yeah, like in societies, I think that you should just, like where you exist, I think that those governments should say, like, look, you have to, like, they should offer programs to teach you the language so that you have the ability as you grow up to make a personal choice, and that at the age of like 18, 19, 20, you know, you're not forced to live your life in a specific way because that's always been what's defined for you. Like, I don't have any problem with people engaging with religious texts and having personal relationships with God. That's their prerogative. But I do think, you know, people have to learn the language in the sense of like, and I don't think we should demonize people who don't know it. I think it should be the duty of the government to ensure that that kind of thing is happening. And with like decent programs, you know.
איך מתמודדים עם צווי הגיוס וצווי המעצר והכלא הצבאי?
Young Haredi students are gathering tonight to hear from Yehuda Bloy.
So the IOF does indeed force people to serve. Yes, the IOF forces people to serve. You can refuse, you'll go to prison, and you can also get exemptions so that you don't have to serve. Hi, Ramelia, sorry. I hope you're doing well. But yeah, did Chris say 6'7"? Did Chris say 6'7"? You are children in my class.
Leader of Am Kadosh.
ואני רוצה להגיד לכם שלא יהיה לאף אחד שום ספק פה. בחורים כאן מהישיבה יגיעו לכלא הצבאי במוקדם ומאוחר, שלאף אחד לא יהיה...
The young men are nervous.
But the Haredis generally don't serve because they're basically... They're pacifists in the sense of they don't believe in serving this secular state. It's like, it's interesting. So like, there's a guy called Kook who is more of a believer in the secular state. Smotrich is his descendant. Kahana doesn't believe in the secular state, but he also believes in inflicting extremist violence against Palestinians.
Several members of the community have already been arrested for resisting the draft. A few students argue that serving in the military wouldn't require giving up on what it means to be Haredi. But Bloy is unconvinced.
למה יש בתי כנסיות בצה"ל? אני לומד עם בחור מ-8200, אני לומד איתו כל יום.
אין בעיה, ודאי שיש.
והוא פותח שם, אומר, יש להם שם...
הצבא חייב לספק את זה.
למה?
ככה, כמו שהצבא...
למה? אבל הוא שונא את הדת. שיגיד שלא.
חייב לספק את זה.
Israel is heading toward a legislative election in 2026, and the growing Haredi voice will be a decisive factor.
By the way, I do think that this is something that if you want to understand Israel and Palestine, that you should be untanding. What am I even saying? Understanding. Because this is an internal contradiction of what a Jewish state means. What is the perspective for them in terms of the Palestinian people? So in my understanding, even some of these, like... religious groups that seem more pro-Palestinian, a lot of them don't necessarily have majorly positive views of Palestinians, but generally what they don't believe in is a secular state, like forcing Jewish people into Palestine is what they believe. I think it's that's the existence of some sects in like Western societies like Nutari Carter, that they basically don't believe in the idea of, I think it's violating one of the 3 oaths or 3 principles, I can't remember which, but it's like flooding the state of, like flooding Jewish people into the state. They just don't support that. But like people here, I think they like and appreciate living in Israel, but they don't believe that they should serve in the military. They don't believe that they should serve anyone but God.
The community wants to present a united front by organizing the largest protest of its kind in
Haredi women won't also serve, but obviously, you know, like most ultra-religious organizations aren't exactly that positive towards women, you know.
Years.
Like, I'm not really surprised that you don't see many Orthodox women out here protesting. But yeah, rejecting the draft is useful enough. It's better generally than what most Israelis are willing to do. Also, I'm going to watch Ethan Klein's record on Israel archived.
לא מעניין אותנו מה שלטון כזה או אחר יגיד, נלך לכלא, כל סנקציה שהיא, לא משנה, זה מה שיהיה. כל הציבור החרדי, כל מה שאנחנו רואים, בהפגנה אחת גדולה, והיא מהווה התחלה גם, בוודאי, להפגנות גדולות מאוד שהולכות להיות, אם השלטון לא יחזור בו.
But this is also, you know, those like early H3 videos that people sometimes cite where Ethan and Gila have pretty hateful views or like pretty problematic views towards one of the, towards like the ultra-Orthodox community. Part of it comes from this, you know, the fact that generally, like the liberal kind of elite in Tel Aviv are paying way higher taxes, that they're, you know, that they're having less children, and a lot of their like taxes just subsidize this community who they don't really like and find kind of very different to their understanding of what Israel is, you know. Sexism in a religious fundamentalist group, you say it ain't so. Yeah, I've heard that this might be a thing. Also, the photo that Loaderbox used for the thumbnail, the thumbnails of our debate is it is troubling. Whoever made his thumbnail is doing crazy work. What was I gonna look at? Okay, so this is Ethan Klein's How Creating Content. Tony takes on Nigel over Brexit. This sounds like very, very exciting content. Maybe I'll watch that. And then I'm getting another recommended for Britain's most unhinged streamer, and apparently it's not me. So a bit sad about that.
Next question. Do we really live in Israel? I guess after that story, it's hard to deny, but...
Yes, we do.
Well, how do people think that we've been doing a...
This was this video was recorded one day before my 14th birthday.
Long dupe con. That's just a big old dupe that we actually don't live in Israel. And let me tell you, let me comment on that. I wish it was a dupe. For one reason, because I wish I didn't live in this fucking country. And for two, that'd be really cool fucking dupe. I'm just thinking about how much I hate Israel and can't wait to live. It's like, if the country's so holy, why does everybody leave dog shit and garbage everywhere on the fucking ground? If this place is so fucking holy, why does everybody literally take a shit in the fucking street and not have to walk to it?
I'm sure that there are happy late 14th birthday. Yes. Thank you guys. I've just dropped my Zin somewhere. I guess we'll find that one day. Don't know where that's gone. Oh well. I'm decrepit and withering. Yeah, I'm 25 now, so... I'm sure that there are bits of historic Palestine that are very nice. It's a very, 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 very beautiful place. Like, you know, historic Palestine is wonderfully beautiful. But I've heard certain parts of, like, Israel are just not very pleasant to be in. Like, I've heard not very positive things always about Tel Aviv from pro-Israel propagandists, you know, apart from them.
Thinking about moving back to Israel. No, I'm just kidding. Fuck that. A lot of people have a lot of opinions about Israel. I just want to say, Hila is Israeli, okay? We don't have a choice. Her family's here. We're coming to visit. There's a lot of misconceptions. People think that people will just ride around on camels. That is actually, that's it. That is Israel.
Yeah, there's a thing too in Israel. People don't pick up after their dogs. You respect the Holy Land. You love the Holy Land. You take a big old shit in the corner.
Okay, we knew he was gonna love this.
Material to cover like
It's poop. Yeah, seriously.
We knew he was gonna film that. He could not help himself. I'm surprised he didn't just go and pick it up, to be honest.
Look at this fucking place, man. Welcome to Israel. It's the same shitty street everywhere that you look. Everything looks the same. Welcome to Israel. That being said, I don't hate Israel. I don't think it's a shithole. I definitely like it a lot here. How do you think about the Gazans who are on the other side of the wall now, who are like cut off from family members, who have to go through checkpoints and come to Israel? You know, it's like,
I mean, the whole thing is shitty. The whole situation there is shitty.
Right.
No matter how you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people who are just born there, and they need to be able to live their life, right? I don't know. I would criticize Israel.
There's so many cuts in this. Is this the one I'm looking for? No.
For a lot of stuff.
And it may never be resolved. It doesn't sound like it will ever be resolved.
I don't think it will ever
You know, the
be
closest we ever got, the Israeli Prime Minister, Rabin, was that his name? There was this guy, he was really close to achieving peace with the Palestinians. And who killed him? A fundamental Jew who thought, fuck these guys, let's not make peace, and he took him out. The Palestinians are definitely being fucked by everybody. Like, that's got to be one of the worst places to live in the whole world, is Gaza, specifically.
Gaza specifically, yeah.
And the thing about Gaza is that, like, Egypt's got the border closed, Israel's got the border closed, and Israel, they still control the water and the power and all this shit.
Wow.
Part of the reason I left is because I was like, this is too much. Like, it's so, like, just living there and being on YouTube is just so polarizing to people.
Yeah.
Like honestly, when we started doing YouTube, we hid the fact that we were in Israel.
Oh.
I remember we would like cover Hebrew writing and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's just also like the thing is that, and what I think is so important, and the thing that has mattered so much since October the 7th, right, is that it is the first time where like pro-Israel people have had to confront a large amount of people who aren't just like, oh, I really want peace in Palestine, and I just want peace between Israelis and Palestinians, but people who are starting to seek justice for the Palestinian people, who articulate that Israel does not have a right to exist, that Israel's violence is not comparable to the Palestinians because it is a structural thing of dispossessing and marginalizing the Palestinians. And that's the problem post-October the 7th. Saying there is bad violence in Palestine is an easy thing. It has been done over and over again, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. And we were just like, I have a good friend who is Lebanese. And to him, even the simple fact that I went to Israel to live with my wife is enough for him to have disassociated with me.
Wow.
And it's like, dude, I'm not going there for political reasons. I'm literally going there to be with my wife because I don't have an option.
Yeah.
I wonder what this guy thinks of Ethan now. Like, I wonder if this guy still has any relationship. Sorry, I'm accidentally in top chat as well. Chris, I made my boyfriend to start watching you. I'm Christianized him. Nice. I'm glad to hear. Isn't this just a guy? I won't read that one out because Ethan will probably sue me. We're eating this up in the comments, forgetting that he would go on to deny this later. Yeah, I mean, also the other thing is that, like, fundamentally, Ethan literally was like, oh, I went on a campaign where I talked about, where he said he was going to go onto TikTok and apologize, and he literally called it like saving his reputation or something, or like my reputation is ruined. Let me see if I can find it. I was attacked in public again. My reputation is in the dirt. How do I fix it? His way of fixing it was going on to TikTok, apologizing slightly for what he did, and then also over the next few months making clear that he didn't actually feel sorry or bad about what he'd done, that all he actually really wanted to do was to save his reputation. And, it wouldn't surprise me if most people are, like, around my age in here. I mean, occasionally there's someone who's too young to be on YouTube, but generally I'd say you're all, my age or slightly older. What are your thoughts on the future of older settler colony societies like USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and how they should address the injustice they enforced on the indigenous people? I think that those are hard questions, and they vary on a case-by-case basis. Like, the US has a long way to go. I mean, in my understanding, aren't natives there still considered like wards of state? I'd have to pull up a lot more of my reading in this situation. But I think, I haven't really read about this since I wrote my dissertation. I was thinking about this as well. Post, October the 7th, I've continued reading about Palestine, but reading like large, long pieces of work is not something I've done. Like, I have a bit, don't get me wrong. Like, I read most of Colonizing Palestine, I've reread things, I've read a huge amount of like essays, academic articles, but reading like large and the best new books coming out about Palestine, it's not been something I've done. I've tried to read about like broader things because I did a lot of my research when I was younger. Better Twitch TV extension. It lets you see certain emotes and more importantly to toggle to automatically switch. Okay, thank you. I'm just seeing what kind of like messages you sent here. Just like, yeah, you're all, I'm not even reading that out, Neil Smith. You make me sick. But sorry, just to go back to that topic, I think that there's much that can be done, but I kind of articulated this to Lonabox yesterday. The main difference between all of them, it is utterly ridiculous, is that in the context of what Israel does, they don't have an open frontier, and I understand that land is being taken still from indigenous communities, but none of them have like an open frontier. Do a Q&A. And in the context of Palestine, the frontier is very much still highly militarized and open. Also, I just set a goal if anyone's interested in donating. Don't feel obliged. Happy holidays, Chris and chat. Love this community. Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy that, like, you know, I was kind of worried coming back from Canada that things were going to be a bit difficult and dead a bit, but it hasn't really been the case. You've all come back in droves, and, you know, I think streaming as much as I have, I'm really happy about, and I'm in a really, like, I feel really good, you know? Like, and people often ask me about my mental health. I'm incredibly privileged that this is what I get to do as a job, that I get to make a decision about, you know, doing a PhD is something that I think at some point in my life I'll do. But it's very rare that, you know, all of my, like, all the people I know, that they get this wonderful choice of getting to pursue the thing that they're interested in and continue researching and learning to talk and like learn from a community as well. Like, it's always interesting talking to you guys and learning new stuff, and I'm incredibly appreciative of all this stuff. It is utterly ridiculous. Thank you, Meg or Maggie, for the $2 and the smiley face. Greatly appreciated. It's hard enough for me to read the books necessary for my studies. More books are a lot. Yeah, I was listening to Finkelstein talk about this. Wait, it is utterly ridiculous. I was just checking whether it did that. Kunzleria prevails. Welcome to the 6-month club, violist. You now have a Red Labubu. You can move away from just being a mediocre violist to a positive violist. But yeah, sorry. I was listening. Engaging with a book is a difficult thing, and I think it's a very different thing to reading summaries of them, to reading, you know, to like watching YouTube videos. I don't think YouTube is a bad starting point. I don't think listening to podcasts are a bad starting point, but I think reading is like an awesome thing. Kunz class in session. It is utterly ridiculous. Thank you for the $2, Sophie. One day I'll do the presentation I made last year where I got an insane mark for it. I got like 87 or 88, which was really high for this presentation I did about Walter Benjamin, but it would take a while to put back together. Also, I've seen 2 old films over the weekend. I saw 39 Steps, the Hitchcock film, which I thought was pretty good, especially for a film made in like the 20s or 30s. And then I also watched A Touch of Evil. Oh my god, Orson Welles is a wicked actor.
That to him is like... Wow.
Modern Mystic Ancient, thanks for the $7 and the man who doesn't look like me. Don't say I look like that man. But yeah, thank you so much.
That's heavy.
Enough to disassociate with me. Yeah.
He also couldn't come to our wedding because
he was like my closest friend.
I was just born here.
Wow.
I don't care. Like, we're all just people here.
Yeah.
Before there was a mass immigration of Jews from Europe and around the world to Israel, there was the Palestinians lived there. And then the Jews bought up a ton of land and just forced them down into the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. If you go back in a map...
He did actually get that.
It is utterly ridiculous.
He did actually get that wrong, which is obviously they didn't buy up huge amounts of land for the ethnic cleansing. The two are linked, but they didn't happen together. Thank you for your continued work.
It is utterly ridiculous.
Work of making propaganda for us with the nation of Qatar. Glory to Qatar. Please, can I have my $5 now? Thanks as always, Qatari Oiler. And I mean, I don't feel the need to do propaganda for any state, but yeah.
It is utterly ridiculous.
Burger, thanks for the £2. As always, good to see £2 from AC. Air conditioning, I assume. Best community, moi. Thank you, Oyanen. What is SAR? Is that Syrian SAR currency? What is that? Saudi Riyal. Ah, I see. Thank you. But yeah.
It was used to be called Palestine, Palestinian territory. Palestinian is a group of people, like Jews is a group of people. Their lineage and their heritage, and they're from that region. But they're living in Gaza Strip. They're like boxed in this tiny bit of land that Israel owns, and it's fucking horrible to live there.
So they're not like walking around Tel Aviv.
No, the Israelis do a lot of fucked up shit there, like stealing their land, encroaching on their land all the time. So yeah, they're kind of like Christopher Columbus. That's why they get sensitive, because it's like a genocide, like a Palestinian genocide.
Oh,
I have successfully not watched any H3 related content for like 6 months.
Utterly ridiculous.
and now you did this to me. Thanks for the 100 SEK. Sorry, but this is a H3 exclusive watching thing. Thanks for the $2, Sophie. Wow, I didn't know YouTube made Chris into an emote. Oh, hell yeah. I made myself into an emote. I will send the whole list of emotes that are accessible to members. In fact, some of them are so good, and they're made by Trove Tales along with the rest of the community.
Now?
Or / apartheid.
Happening now.
Yeah. And again, I'm saying that I support.
But, like, once again, I think that the problem is that the second that Ethan was actually questioned or held to account over any of these views is where the problem comes. That, like, post-October the 7th, where you have a huge amount of knowledge and a huge amount, like, a time at which supporting Israel is impossible. I mean, it should have always been impossible, but supporting Israel becomes becomes so much more difficult, and you actually question about your views. That's where the problem lies. Also, Qatari Euler, thanks for the $5.
Support Palestine. I don't know how more I can express that. The terrorist attack is a consequences of Israel's occupation. I mean, and they have all the power. Israel has all the power. The power imbalance is crazy, right? But what more do you want me to say? They're genocidal, murderous, fucking war criminals. And I'm going to sit here till...
It's also just amazing to sit there and watch this and be like, that's all okay, that it undoes everything else, because these are objectively good things. Yes, I like this kind of stuff. Do this. But then uphold the values. If you genuinely think that there is a genocide going on in Palestine, don't say that you're going to go over to Israel and, like, check out what's going on over there and just tell everyone that, like, things are amazing and everything's okay. You know? And do, like, show your audience that it's not a Jim Crow apartheid state. You believe there's a fucking genocide going on. Like, that's worse than the Jim Crow apartheid state, you know? But I mean, Israel was always genocidal. I joined late and Ethan's face was the jump scare. Thanks for the $2, Meg or Maggie. It always is.
I'm blue in the fucking face.
And yeah, thank you as always for the support and watching and viewing. Just watching, if you can become a member, if you can support, that's always appreciated. But just watching and enjoying my content is all I've wanted. You guys have achieved the dreams that so many of you wanted just a few weeks or even months ago. You wanted me to get off TikTok. I barely post on TikTok anymore. I was talking to another content creator who I quite like. He's a nice guy and I've spoken to him before. But like, when I was talking to him about what was going on, I was like, if I have one piece of advice, I was like, get off TikTok and get off Instagram. Well, like, still, if you want to make videos, like, keep up what you're doing, but try and transition away from it. This is a way better platform to make content on.
Talking about how the IDF is a genocidal criminal institution, that Netanyahu should be tried for war crimes. He should immediately resign. I can tell you that the West Bank settlements are basically an act of war. And I don't really believe even that settlers are civilians in the same way that the people who were murdered are. I can tell you that what Israel's doing in Gaza is as evil can be. Blowing up, leveling neighborhoods, cutting off water, power, food.
Why do they have an explosion in the background? Why do they put that there? But I think that the other...
It is utterly ridiculous.
I think that the other major thing, as I say, is just like actually dealing and confronting any of this and like upholding any of the values that you have here of like, you know, of Palestinians fighting back and being like, that's a product of what Israel's done. Why you would then go on to say things like Iran is the locus of all evil, that Hamas are the main issue, that Hamas are responsible for the Israeli assault on Gaza. Once it actually comes down to it, but yeah, there's an explosion off under this corner. Can you see it there? It's like it is an explosion, by the way. Noxolotl, as always, thanks for the $2 and thanks for being someone who's always here. It's always greatly appreciated. The audacity of Ethan trying to sue more people. Crazy.
It is utterly ridiculous.
We just hit the goal insanely fast. Guys, thank you so much for that. It normally doesn't get hit, and that was just done instantaneously. What do you think about the Uyghur situation in Xinjiang? Is it a genocide? Thanks from South Africa. I mean, I don't know enough about it, but in my understanding, like, a situation in which you're trying to, like, remove and destroy people's culture, I think genocide should be expanded to kind of include those kind of things. I think that that's undeniable. But frankly, I don't know enough about it. And I think that the focus that it received in Western media is so interesting in comparison to what Israel, in comparison to like the way in which people have sought everything they can do to deny what Israel is doing.
It is utterly ridiculous.
Onion, thank you for becoming a member. A level 1. I think you're already a member though.
It is utterly ridiculous.
Ethan can't even pay for Love's Visa, a H3 fan paid. Jesus. I mean, I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. I don't actually know. I don't know why he didn't pay for that. I don't really care about that kind of stuff, you know. It's like, who cares? The people around him, I think, the people around him are dickheads for the main reason of, I think, that they're sycophants propping up a guy who really all he had to do was, like, actually confront what he said. Like, I mean, in the thing with Hassan, like, right? You know, the thing that they were, the like way in which the conversation with Hassan basically went was, the way in which the conversation with Hassan basically went was like Ethan just admitting a load of things that he now denies. But like, I think that the main thing that's a problem for me and something that I'll talk about as the part of like the next segment is Asmongold has posted a video where he valorizes Nick Fuentes. And I checked on Ethan's stories. It's just like a tirade against Taylor Lorenz. The biggest streamer on Twitch wants to bring on a guy who has like overtly denied the Holocaust, the extermination of Jewish people. Like undeniable. But yeah, like absolutely undeniable. Also, you know what? You guys smashed that goal so quickly. So, you know what I'll reward you with? I said I'll do a Q&A. We'll mix that together. You'll get a gaming stream. Quite possibly weekend... What's the weekend after this? I'll do the same again. I'll do a gaming stream as like an offer. I will actually do gaming anyway because my girlfriend's here and I have never been the kind of person who can have like, you know, a partner around and just sit and play video games. And I can't like convince myself that that's ever okay. So why don't you guys sponsor my ability to do that by doing a gaming stream, eh? But I will 100% do the Q&A that I just promised. I like doing the Q&As. But yeah, thanks for smashing that. And also, no obligation to hit it either. And I do really enjoy gaming streams.
Utterly ridiculous.
Danny California, thanks for the 1 month. Welcome to the constatorship. What about Expedition 33? No, I really want to beat Dark Souls 3. Will you wear a Santa hat for the holidays? No, that won't happen. I'm also trying to remember, I think that the only people left from the, like, OG Twitch days, if anyone wants to remind me, are, Sarah and Tony Soprano Lover, and I think that that's it. Fuck me.
It is utterly ridiculous.
Any 7-month gamers? What the fuck? That's unbelievable that you've been here for 7 months. Chris's girlfriend is Canadian and goes to another school. Yeah.
Can say that till I'm blue in the fucking face. So I don't want to hear any goddamn person saying that I'm a Zionist. I'm not a Zionist. The only reason people call me a Zionist is because I'm Jewish. So explain to me.
That is not the only reason people call him a Zionist. And once again, like, this revulsion at ever confronting that is an example of the problematic nature of his pro-Palestine activism. In the sense that he doesn't care about anti-Semitism. Yeah, I mean, 100%. This guy does not give a solitary fuck about anti-Semitism. Like, seriously, there's a reason that Hassan Piker was gone after, and so much more effort was put into targeting Hassan Piker than was put into, you know, bothering to target Asmongold, you know? Like, Ethan calls Cruel World Happy Mind Madison, you know, someone, a nice human being. Someone who doesn't spend their time advocating for people to dress up and go and, as Ash Ketchum, to go and abuse illegals, as Asmon put it. That's not an evil Nazi. But yeah, thanks for the 7 months, Henry. Someone said something. On the topic of don't forget the victims of... Yes, of course. I mean, it's not a unique thing. I mean, many other groups of people were targeted by the Nazis, and that's why we shouldn't view them as this unique aberration. I think I've talked about that over and over again.
Me how that's not anti-Semitic, not a Zionist. Never talked about Zionism. Never talked about Israel having a God-given right to exist or whatever the fuck. If Israelis can't imagine why some Palestinians want to do this kinds of shit, then you're also part of the problem. People don't want to imagine. They don't care. It's like Israelis, we don't care about dead Palestinian babies. We just bomb it because, you know what? It's a retaliation. And I don't know how much more I can fucking say that I support Palestine and Palestinian people in the most extreme way possible. How much more can I say?
He's joining Hamas. Ethan Hamas Klein.
Say it. Israel is now bombing Gaza, which is monstrous, genocidal, fucked up. I don't know what more I can say. And I like this.
It is utterly ridiculous.
Lefty Pole watches quirked up British boy. You know how it is. But I think, like, thanks for the $2, Anna. Also, I think that the thing about this for me is that, like, you know, Ethan has now makes excuses for why that this has happened. Like, he makes the excuses for the bombing of hospitals. It was monstrous then, but now it's not. Like, using this as, like, an example of how much he's changed with everything else he's said is crazy. You know, the thing where he said, what happened a day before the Nakba, to justify it.
Say this at the top. And I've been saying it every fucking day, every time I can say it, because people are always going to call me a Zionist. People are going to call me a IDF supporter, genocidal, all this shit. So if you see anybody saying that, you know they're liars and bad faith weirdos. So here's what I'll say about Israel. Listen, this isn't the first time I've said it, and I'll say it and many more times. The cabinet is run by genocide.
Hate to break it to you, but you're an Arab now. Mashallah, this Chris guy. Thanks for the $2, 2 Canadian. I'll be spending that down Timmy H's.
Maniacs. They're led by Netanyahu, who should resign in disgrace and go to prison for being a war criminal. He's made a coalition of the most, like, radically conservative freaks that don't represent, by the way, the majority of Israelis. And they're hell-bent on genocide, frankly, overtly. They've committed tons of war crimes in Gaza, including the killing of children, obviously, because Gaza is one of the most densely populated places in the world. 50% of the residents are under 18, so when you bomb a building, the chances that you're killing children is pretty much 100%. It's fucking barbaric. It's unacceptable. It's disgusting. I saw videos of Palestinian dads holding his dead, like, 5-year-old daughter. I mean...
So then why would you, like, I think I really, if I could pick, like, a favorite thing that I got was the Great March of Return stuff yesterday. Because, like, and also talking about this thing of why would, as leftists, Hassan be your focus? Like, I think when Bad Empanada talks about, Jesus Christ, Kenya, thank you so much for the 10 memberships again. I thanked you for yesterday's. That is so incredibly kind. Thank you so fucking much. I need to fix the fucking thing of, like, it doing something. Maybe we'll get a video of me, like, breakdancing, you know, instead of a normal one. But W Kenya. W's indeed, and welcome to all of the new members. Timmy's, yeah, I've heard Timmy's is shit. I've never actually been to Timmy Hortons, and we have it in the UK. And also, I know no one calls it Timmy H. I just like winding up my girlfriend by saying that, because she also told me that once upon a time you guys used to say, "Yo, reached live, fam." But no. And by the way, when I have that critique of Hassan, I don't think you shouldn't critique Hassan, but what I don't think you should spend your time doing is complaining apparently about the rise of, like, some pro-Iran Western left. It doesn't matter what the Western left says about Iran. How we should police that discourse is not by calling them all evil, terror, monster sympathizers. I think what you should actually do in the case of, what you should do in the case of, like, this is say, hey guys, it is wrong to support an authoritarian regime, but simultaneously people acting against Israel and seeing why someone might identify with that is not, like, insane. Something maybe could set up more custom alert stuff. Yeah. But I'm not breakdancing. I can't do it, Henry.
And there was another one that, like, as a father, it's even hard to talk about. This dude was holding his infant. It was like a year old. And he was like patting her on the back and saying like his final goodbye. I mean, he's holding her like she's alive, like he's just burping her or something. I didn't expect to get emotional about that, but like, I'm a new dad. That's what's funny about it, right? Like, why would you donate $1,420 to someone who doesn't need the money even? That even makes sense. You could give it to a charity. You could have given it to a Palestine charity, but instead you gave it to Caseytron. You supported our GoFundMe. By the way, Denims and Frogan, that's our GoFundMe.
Why not just give the money to a fucking pro-Palestine charity your fucking self? You don't need that money. Caseytron, Denims, and Frogan do need that money to fight the frivolous lawsuit that you're setting on them. You have the tens of $1,000 watches, you know? Brother, you suggested the breakdancing. No, I didn't. Prove it. Also, Sophie, thank you so much, as always, for the support. Like, honestly, not having the stress of doing TikTok and being able to do this instead. Like, we will cover some, like, proper news today. Don't worry. I spent all day researching. But thank you all so much for the goats, the donations, the support, and the views, and the people bothering to watch. It's greatly appreciated. But just, like, putting these two things together is, like, truly unbelievable. Putting these two things together where he's now, like, gloating over taking money out of a GoFundMe. But, super random, but what's the Harry Potter nickname? The haters have you again. I remember thinking it was super funny. I remember someone on Twitter when I first wrote this out. I'll tell you in a second. They were like, you shouldn't listen to the haters. I fucking could not stop laughing. Because I was streaming outdoors, there's like an outdoor place where the wall behind me is kind of like exposed, and someone says to me, why does it look like you're in a tunnel? And then the next person goes, Hamas Potter and the Chamber of Hostages was what they called me. And I found it so fucking funny. And someone on Twitter was like, don't let the haters get you down. And I was like, oh bro, come on, I don't mind. Like, I don't mind. It's really completely fine. You know, like, I'm not gonna be upset by it, you know, like, it's what do you say? But thanks for the $5, Maggie. I love it. Hamas Potter in the Chamber of Hostages.
Just so you know.
Well, that's what I don't understand. So after what just happened, yes.
And I don't even.
But, like, as well, the genocide hasn't stopped. In fact, since this point, crying at this point, and not crying now or being upset now, and, like, doing advocacy for the GHF and stuff and bringing on Ahmed Fouad al-Khatib is crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. I love that. But also, by the way, the reason I roll my eyes is because, one, I don't have Harry Potter's hair color. I have a friend, and he used to be enraged by being called Harry Potter, because one time he was on a train, which is obviously not nice, and a bunch of, like, drunk football lads were like, "Way, Harry Potter!" But he had round-rimmed glasses too, and black hair, and, you know, I'm sorry, bro, you did look like Harry Potter. But for me, it's like, I don't look like Harry Potter, I'm just British. Like, that's it, I'm British.
Dad, that shit really fucks me up. It's not right. I've donated.
Yeah, I did feel kind of bad when I was on Hassan's live. Someone said it's not as good as Hamas Arby. When someone called him Hamas Leica, and I was kind of laughing. Like, obviously for him, you know, it's more insulting. And I know he says he's, like, white passing, but, you know, he's raised Muslim and stuff. And there's definitely a part of it in that which someone might find offensive. But yeah. Hamas Leica is a crazy name. It's crazy work.
Money. I've supported them on this show a lot more than I've spoke about Israel. That's goddamn true for sure. Horrible things are happening in Gaza.
Do you remember when they were saying, like, not that long ago, that they were like, people are going to, if you go to Ramallah, you get lynched?
Which is true, and which I've voiced repeatedly. Outright saying that it's apartheid, that it's genocide, that the Israeli government is committing. What's happening in Gaza is...
I think also the fact that you're, like, pro-Palestine, I think that your pro-Palestine clips being this long is crazy, you know?
The terrible humanitarian crisis that we should all care about with what is happening in Gaza, which we all agree is a terrible, terrible fucking disaster. People in Gaza, right, who have no access, they have no means, they can't, I mean, they're basically just like totally fucked, right, in every conceivable way. I have not changed my opinion about this one fucking like molecule. Obviously, the people in Israel, on October 7th, they were victims. After everything that's happened, obviously, whatever they've suffered pales in comparison to the mass destruction and like wanton death of civilians in Gaza and what's happening in the West Bank, too.
Do you believe that Israel is committing a genocide in Gaza?
Yes. It's horrific.
So why would it be a funny thing, and why would you spend your time suing people? Like, why would you team up with so many people who have just spent their time trying to advocate for not caring about that? Also, we're going to have to watch a Bad Empanada live video here where he watches a clip of... Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Driving in Ramallah as an Israeli is dangerous. Guys, I'm like one of those hackers researching the H3 Snark Reddit.
It's genocide, it's ethnic cleansing, it's horrific, and we all care about it and want to do everything we can to save it. You should be criticizing Israel's government. You should be criticizing them for this fucking horrific genocide, mass murder of people in Gaza, right? You should be. These settlers taking land in the West Bank and the government co-signing that is... I have trouble expressing how vile these people are. I'll say this. I've said this before, and I'll just say it again so for the record. I've said that West Bank settlers are valid military targets, and I'll leave it at that. I don't know who they think watched.
So, like, then why are you so against, like, any military group and call them all the most evil people in the world? Like, how do they target them? How is that a thing? Like, what are they supposed to do? Did you send another 10 gifted? Did you send another 10? No. It's just fucked up. I don't know why.
This show, but our fans are extremely pro-Palestine, extremely anti-racist. They're just like more aware, thank God, of anti-Semitism, more sensitive to it.
Yeah.
Like if I was everything you say I am.
You called Cruel World Happy Mind an evil Nazi and then balk at being called a Zionist for being a Zionist.
And why the fuck would my audience be like that?
That's a good point.
Shouldn't I have like Steven Crowder's audience? What are you talking about? I have like 60% fucking leftist to liberal, left-leaning, progressive women watch this show.
Wow, what a brilliant video. We're gonna have to watch Bad Empanada react to a fucking video because I can't find the original clip.
Cast just 1 month after a little Yoav Gallant gaffe.
And I feel like my biggest fear driving to Jerusalem is to make a mistake on the road because like, you can't make the wrong turn and end up like somewhere you're not wanted. Yeah. So that's why I've always had so much like anxiety about going there. I feel like
that's so crazy.
It's ingrained anxiety, like the subconscious. You don't even.
It happened recently that Israeli.
It always happens.
Couple or dudes went on the wrong road and they were murdered.
Did you just send another 10? My goodness, thank you so much. Don't feel obliged to do that. Jesus, Kenya, thank you so much. And hell for Michelle. I was going to call you hello by mistake.
It is utterly ridiculous.
We have so many members, like unbelievable. Thank you guys so fucking much. Thank you all for the support. I still constantly laughing at Hamas Leica. Yeah, I'm sorry, Hassan. It is a funny nickname. Jesus. Have some of my Christmas bonus, Gang and Chris. Thank you as always. Only ever feel that if you have the ability and you want to, it's always greatly appreciated. But don't feel obliged to do it, ever. Like just watching and just saying Chris Kunstler is the best dictator ever is all I need.
Right? Oh, terrible. Yeah, it's very dangerous to go down the wrong road there.
Where?
And people go,
and I didn't have smartphones back in the day, I should say. So it was different having to drive somewhere when I was like 18, without a smartphone. You kind of have to memorize where you're going if you haven't been there before.
Yeah.
My dad would tell me like, so when you get there on the second right, you go right. And on the third left, it's like that's how we used to get instructions.
Yeah.
Which seems so archaic now. I think.
Yeah, it's crazy. People think that I'm being like racist. So if you want to say that, I think if you as Israeli go to Ramallah, they'll kill you.
What do you mean you think?
I think I'm saying if you go there as Israeli, you take the turn there, you'll be dead. They'll kill you.
It's not.
It's also just
not only killed, it's like lynched. It's a brutal death.
Yeah.
So.
I think.
Let's see what Bad Empanada has to say about this.
It's absolutely incredible for.
Yeah, there's probably like a few Loner Box and Ethan Klein fans have probably got gifted memberships, so they can enjoy those, you know. They can use the Chris Kunzler emotes elsewhere.
One, how actual Israeli mass murder and genocide of Palestinians is always legitimized by theoretical Palestinian violence against Israelis. You ever notice that? This is what that is. It's the same thing. But two, it's like if you drive into this city that we occupy and periodically raid, whose people we periodically massacre, who we keep under a brutal occupation, if you drive there, you're in danger. You know what I think when I hear that? Like, what the fuck do you expect? Would a German driving around like a resistance-controlled area in Paris in 1942 be like, oh my god, I can't fucking believe that these weird Frenchies, they keep attacking us. Why? They're so uncivilized. That's the...
Yeah, I mean, I agree with this. I agree with this. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think, but yeah. Don't protest. She said lynch. Yeah, she's talking about 2 Israeli soldiers who got lynched in Ramallah. 2 Israeli soldiers during the Second Intifada. And by the way, same people who will bring up the Intifada as like a barbaric example of horrendous politics by, you know, Palestinians, by... of them just wanting over and over again to just mass harm Jews. Sorry, those things were always more violent from the Palestinians. What up, big dog? You read Torquil? No, I've not read the book on the PFLP. That actually sounds really interesting. I'd be interested because I've heard that, like, a lot of English language stuff around Palestinian resistance groups and political parties is not really good, especially about Hamas. Like, it's really contrived. Maybe Tarek Bakoni is all right, but I've not read it. But yeah, didn't they kidnap them from their tanks? No, they just happened to drive into Ramallah during the Second Intifada, you know? It's like great, like people being Israeli soldiers in a land where they were oppressing Palestinians, and now that means that Palestinians are going to lynch people in Ramallah. That is genuinely one of the craziest things that you could cook up and come up with to say, like, that in Ramallah that's going to happen. Like, what? Like, genuinely, what? Bad empanada on No Politic here. I don't know if he'd think I'm too much of a liberal. But this really brings me on to my next subject, where, by the way, I am not watching an hour of Piers Morgan and Nick Fuentes. That is not happening. Never, ever, ever am I going to watch that much. But what I will watch is a small segment of clips from, you know, from my favorite streamer, Asmongold Eichmann. Great guy, really great guy, supporter of the Klein family, someone who, you know, hates Hassan, someone who's like really an ally of the Jewish community. He was on some really cool shit yesterday, which is, as the biggest streamer in the world, I don't think that this has been mentioned by Ethan Klein. He's too busy editing photos of Hassan into an SS uniform and saying AT&T won't like this. So let's listen to what Asmongold had to say yesterday.
You think Hitler was very fucking cool?
Yes, I do.
You think Hitler was very fucking cool?
Yes, I do.
Why are you nodding along with that?
One of them.
And I'm tired of pretending he's not.
Well,
to be honest.
This is the problem, you see. It's a bit like when you just say, I'm a racist. You're a racist, you think Hitler's cool, but you're not anti-Semitic.
It is utterly
If you're a
ridiculous.
Jewish person watching this, what are they thinking? You think...
What's funny about that? Like, if anything, you know, I kind of spoke about this yesterday, and I think it's worth speaking about. Pre-October the 7th, Nick Fuentes did not care about Palestine. He doesn't care about Palestinians now, but he sees it as a cause that he can glob onto, because the situation, by the way, is only fucking getting worse. Like, I mean, let me just quickly pull up a clip of fucking Ted Cruz. Listen to this. Like, and then we have these fucking conferences of pro-Israel billionaires talking about this. But, like, do you not see how fucking vindicated, like, or how Nick Fuentes becomes vindicated when this is an elected American official talking?
I came into Congress 13 years ago with the stated intention of being the leading defender of Israel.
What? Why? Why as an American American politician do you need to go into Congress and be the leading defender of Israel? It has been pretty much bipartisan support of Israel. And I am sorry, most people are going to be unwilling to actually confront what Israel is like. And instead, they'll just find easy solutions rather than confronting, as a right-winger, that the American empire is bad, that leftists were right all along. They're just going to favor an easy conspiracy of, you know what? Maybe all those horrible people from our past were right about Jewish people and they control our society, and that's why all of these things are that way, because they're never going to be able or willing to confront, hey, this is just the barbaric nature of a Western racist, supremacist, capitalist system. He's also part of Mossad's gaming team. What, Asmongold or who? Ethan?
The United States Senate.
Right.
And I've worked every day to do that.
Like, just saying that you've worked every day to be Israel's greatest defender. Do you not see the problem? Like, these politicians have no way to address this. And people like this are going to continue to be vindicated until we actually move away from, like, this system where there is just bipartisan support for Israel. And also, by the way, I guess I'm covering it. Look at this chat. Based, fair, fucking based. The interview was so good. Lol, 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 laughing my ass off. Piers is such a tool. I mean, Piers, there is a point which we will actually watch where Fuentes actually says something to Piers Morgan where he's like, Israel's supremacist and you're fucking fine with that.
Bro, we didn't shift the Overton window. We burned down the house. We burned down the whole motherfucking neighborhood.
There is no Ethan Klein story about this. There are literally just stories about how much he hates Taylor Lorenz and his dog shit clothing company. Like, I genuinely thought that these people were so concerned with the rise of anti-Semitism. But let's be frank here, they don't want to actually deal with anti-Semitism. They don't. And also, by the way, we shifted the Overton window. He considers himself as an ally of this fucking guy.
Oh my god! This is crazy. Yeah, this is nuts. I saw another clip about this too, with no insurance. Yes, and no survivors.
It is utterly ridiculous.
And all or nothing. No, there was another clip about this too. Here we go.
Listen to this one. This is the even more shocking one. And Americans wonder why they're so lonely. I mean, I think someone made a really brilliant point about this. Watching this guy reacting to the Streamer Awards, where, like, objectively, this is the biggest streamer in the world. But he's not welcome at anything. And it's not even because he has, like, subversive politics. It's because he's a completely repugnant individual who parrots the government line, pretty much. The US government line on these things. Sure, the US government is not, like, openly, you know, associating with Fuentes because he's anti-Israel. But if he wasn't, and if he wasn't like an anti-Semitic fuck, you know that the US government would be fine with all these other views. But thanks for the $2, and Meg or... It's annoying because I can't see your full name. Meg or Maggie. I know it's you, but I was just double checking.
This is where you talk about Jews, women, and blacks.
I've seen it, you've seen it, we've all seen it.
Just take a listen.
They're always coming up with, no, it's not the Jews. No, it's not women. No, it's not blacks. It's actually really complicated. No, it fucking isn't at all. Jews are running society. Women need to shut the fuck up. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part.
Imagine nodding along with this. Even then, like, this fucking online leftist community who obsess with Hassan Piker don't care about this. Like, they don't. I'm sorry. Like, this guy is sat there nodding along with this guy. And once again, you actually see what I'm saying. That these people provide so much simpler explanations that are so much more cathartic to people than actually confronting what the problem is in society. Like, literally just hearing women, Jewish people, black people, they have created all of these problems. And sorry your headphones fell out.
Mm-hmm. And we would live in paradise. It's that simple.
Man.
He agrees. Like, he genuinely agrees that this is the biggest biggest Twitch streamer in the world that if you just take away rights from women, and he won't get banned. This is just fine. And maybe he'll deliver some apology to get rid of some of the negative reaction. But let's be frank here. This guy will get away with this because this kind of stuff is allowed. It is only if you dare to speak out unequivocally against the state of Israel.
Okay.
He's just nodding.
Would you like to clarify what you meant there?
Hell for Michelle. I'm terrified of how many young boys consume this content. 100%. And like I was thinking and talking about this today. When I was young, there was all this outrage, shock jock humor, and that was a bad thing, and a lot of it was very heavily misogynistic. But it wasn't quite straight up as bad as this. Like, it wasn't someone who was like, women are responsible for all ills in society. It was more like people who were like, the feminist movement is crazy, and we need to destroy them. And like most people just like point and laugh and say outrageous things to upset the woke people. This is now just straight up the biggest streamer being like, I quite like what a guy who denies...
It is utterly ridiculous.
...denies the Holocaust has to say. I think he's a great guy. These genuine cretins should have been banned ages ago. Nothing short of hate speech in every sentence. Oh, 100%. And Asmongold doesn't even need this guy here to do this. He doesn't. Thanks for the €5, by the way, Kenya. As always, thank you for all of the support today. You all have been going crazy on it.
That's all true.
I'm not saying, by the way, it didn't used to be this bad. Definitely not. And this kind of like stuff on the internet is negative.
It is utterly ridiculous.
And it has negative influences on young men. And like definitely people used to think things and shock jock humor was very, very funny. But this kind of stuff is so much fucking worse. Like, this is not just like shock jock humor, say and do outrageous things. Haha, making like jokes about anything is funny. This is straight up just insane.
The old media technique of shaming people doesn't work when they're not ashamed. The entire shame apparatus.
I'm just seeing what this is saying. Is this Piers interviewing his teenage self? Beautiful stuff going on here.
Has failed. It's fallen apart. It doesn't work anymore.
That's 100% true. Everything I said in that clip is true.
Including that blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part.
Yeah. Yes.
This is where you talk about...
Yeah, we do have a Discord, by the way. Get it in here. What... boys, get it in here. Guys. And just like... what is so, like, funny about someone who is growing as, like, with political clout and power...
It is utterly ridiculous.
Saying this stuff. God, I wish these freaks felt shame. I do too. Because this is not funny. Saying that, like, already a considerable amount of black people are in prison, but just saying all black people need to be in prison, and that being, like, funny haha is amazing.
It is utterly ridiculous.
How did the educational... We've just hit the second goal. Jesus Christ, guys, you are smashing it. But thanks for the €2, Hell for Michelle, and thanks for the £2, Henry. How did the educational system fail these people? Because I think they're, like, ultimately, I think that ultimately we never, ever, ever, like, examine the problems in our society. We never examine ultimately what's going on in favor of just, like, things are good and, like, anything a bit too left-wing. No, that's crazy Stalin loving.
The way he says it!
Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, wow. So we're already... Yeah. Jesus, guys. So we're already in a whole different world now. We are all the...
Going to be honest, Nick is essentially just an American conservative. He just says the quiet part about Israel out loud. Well, I mean, he's also, like, really anti-Semitic. But, like, these people believe in conspiracy theories about minorities and migrants all the time. Literally, as I say, the problem for the vast majority of these people is literally that Nick Fuentes says it about Jewish people. That he says it about, Israel. That's the problem that so many people actually have. They don't care about the violence of his rhetoric. They don't care about the racist nature. It is only that it is targeted against Jewish people that there are many people who are upset about this.
Way in a different world. And he's okay with women shutting up. I mean, Pierce is okay with women shutting up. I think a lot of guys are. So the gloves are off. Yeah. And the thing is, bro, when we watch, maybe tomorrow, maybe we watch
this isn't where it ends.
Rooting for you from Finland.
Yeah, Asmongold has been. We got to do a stream. Does he want me to reach out to him?
I think that we might have to wait till next year for that one. I don't know if Twitch is ready for that one yet.
It is
now,
utterly ridiculous.
I will say it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. But I don't know if when is sooner than later. I know the position that I'm in.
There is no Ethan Klein story about this. Have Stop Anti-Semitism posted about this? Oh my god, the chat is going so fucking fast. Jesus, why is it doing that? Oh wait, it's because I just went on a different one. Virtuous Path. The fact that Ethan will never engage with any of the criticism you lobby, and will call you the C word instead of speaks volumes about where he stands on this issue. Oh, exactly. And also, by the way, one of the other parts of, like, talking to Lonerbox in the way I did yesterday, I proved that point to, like, that all of those people who were like, no, everyone just has to skip him. His voice is so annoying. Look what happened when he debated Lonerbox. No. I know it's not going to change anything, but there is 4 hours of me talking to someone where I held my own perfectly. $2.50 for the transition fund. $2.50 for the lawyer when he sues you and your giant rack. Ethan is going to sue me for distracting him by just having humongous breasties. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, like, do you guys not think that a guy who has constantly trades in, like, Holocaust denial, literally saying black people all need to go to prison, that Jewish people control America entirely, might be more important and a more negative thing than Hassan Piker interviewing an 18-year-old from Yemen? Because I certainly do, but somehow I don't think that there's going to be a major campaign because so many of the people who shit on Hassan are allied with this guy. This is their guy. This is their boy. They can't criticize him. Hassan Piker is Turkish. That is why I love him. Amazing. I feel like you may be one of the few people who loves Hassan for him being Turkish.
It's just how he's mad. Asmongold fans cry, you call him a Nazi? Oh, I'm a Nazi again. Okay.
Yeah, this guy is a fucking Nazi.
As Mein Kampf, it really...
I think Asmongold Eichmann is better, but that's just because I created it.
Saying he'd be interested in doing a stream with you? Have you spoken to him since the legendary Trainer X debate stream? He also said his mom used to watch your show before she passed.
Really?
Holding hands emoji.
Well,
that's true.
Nice. I really pray for him since his father passed.
Oh my god, it is so funny watching this guy do like a disingenuous Christian grift after being like, all black people need to go to prison.
Thank you.
That is. So I'm really
what a
with
nice
him in
guy.
that way. I'm praying for him and his father also and his family. But no, I haven't spoken with him since Trainwrecks. It'd be great to do. I don't know how we would set that up,
especially on
maybe
Twitch.
I'll reach out to him. I don't want to be too forward, but I'd love to do a stream with Asmongold.
That would be
he's
funny.
very good.
I also wouldn't be happy that my mother was a big fan of Asmongold. If anyone in my family was a big fan of Nikki and Nikki F. Anyone in my family is a big fan of that. No, thank you.
I think he's one of the better streamers that's at the top right now.
That's appreciated. Wow, what a nice...
My God, imagine also someone who is like an avowed neo-Nazi coming out and saying that you are one of his favorite streamers at the top. If someone said that about me, I would want to make so incredibly clear that I had nothing to do with this guy, that this was ridiculous, you know?
Nice guy.
You got Hassan. He's terrible. XQC, I think he's the biggest streamer in the world right now.
XQC's the guy.
One of the finest ones. I think he's really pushing people in a good direction. Kind of reminds me of PewDiePie in that way.
Back in the day.
Very, like, responsible. Yeah. And I'm not trying to glaze, but I don't know that Asmongold is 100% ideologically aligned, but he seems to be just like generically a good guy and responsible with this platform. So
I try to be.
I would love to talk.
What a
to him.
nice guy.
Henry Adams sent $100.
Yeah, what a nice guy. Yeah, I appreciate it, Nick. And yeah, I remember, bro, like I remember walking in, my mom was listening to Nick, and this is like back in the day. This is like 2020, 2021, right? And so yeah, she was in it. She was in on it on the ground floor. I do really appreciate it. Thank you.
She was in on it on the ground floor. No, she wasn't. She was in on it after he was convicted.
It is utterly ridiculous.
Of being a what's it called? Of being like being at the Charlottesville riots. I'm sick of hearing people like Asmon who sit on their throne and preach about racial purity and homogeneity, while interfering in the affairs of other countries and going on about how immigration is a threat to Japan. Yeah, I mean, these people don't care about anything. Like, this is someone who doesn't care about any kind of community. He lives entirely on his own on the internet and worships fucking Nick, like, thinks it's awesome that his mum is a fan of Nick Fuentes. I'm sick of, but thank you for Zealot Zay, thank for the 140 ZAR, which is South African Rand. Shout out South Africa. I like when you guys defeated the apartheid regime. That was pretty fucking cool.
Maybe this is controversial, but they have to crush the other side.
That's right. Oh, that's right. 100 fucking %.
They have to, because you can do one of two things. You cannot challenge the left
That's
and
right.
let them do their thing.
And then they're going to just run you over, and eventually when they get power, they're going to crush you.
Or you can utterly confront them and defeat them.
You destroy them completely. Destroy everything about them. Put the mayors in jail. Put the governors up on the Insurrection Act for sedition. Put all of the people that were doing the shit in front of the detention centers. Put them in mandatory prison labor camps. Any of them that are violent.
Like, materially, what is different apart from the sole thing that this guy is different on is, like, he doesn't believe that Germans... he doesn't quite believe the same things about Jewish people, obviously, but he was referring to Ilhan Omar as a parasite, which is a key part of Nazi rhetoric, by the way, that, you know, Jewish people were parasites. But, like, he doesn't believe in, obviously, the supremacy of the German Aryan race over all other races. But, like, he wants forced labor for anyone he deems to be an enemy.
Authorize the police officers to respond with violence to them, immediately, completely shut it down, bring in the military if you need to, bring in the National Guard, do whatever you need to do, look and find out who's funding this, take those people, charge them with incitement for terrorism, put them in Guantanamo Bay. Like, I'm talking about scorched earth, Old Testament, get them the fuck out.
Yeah, I do think, after reading this comment, that you've got a point. Sabra hummus is probably more significant. I guess putting Ben Shapiro in a thumbnail when he wasn't in the video and Ethan Klein there is pure, unadulterated anti-Semitism. And I guess having a bleach sword, you know, is worse than this. When you guys put it like that, I think that you're kind of right, that we should have probably just been all ignoring this, that, like, apparently the biggest threat to Jewish people, to minorities and all of this stuff is actually not this. It's actually just Hassan Piker on the internet. Like, yeah, I think that, you know, you've made a very, very, very strong point there, and that we should probably just talk about, I guess, Sabra hummus and bleach swords. No, I cannot say that I support Palestine Action, because Palestine Action is designated a terror group, and using my platform to incite support for them would get me a very long jail sentence. So, no, I cannot say that I support Palestine Action specifically. I believe that people boycotting Israeli weapons factories is a good thing, though. But I do not support Palestine Action because it is a prescribed organization. We may watch a couple of clips of this and just see what Asmongold was thinking was the most based thing in the world.
Many theories about you. I've no idea what the answer is, and you haven't got to answer. But are you actually attracted to women?
I am attracted to women.
You're not gay?
No. But I will say that women are very difficult to be around.
Okay.
So there's that.
And do you think they should have the right to vote?
I do not. No, absolutely not.
They should stay at home?
Well,
by the way, this is once again like the Ethan Klein logic of how you make yourself look like a leftist. Talk to Nick Fuentes because he's more racist than you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So basically, you're just a misogynist old dinosaur, aren't you? For a young guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm...
Piers Morgan just wrote a book. Wait, Piers Morgan, new book. He wrote like a book about like woke is dead, how common sense triumphed in the age of total madness. Okay, bro.
I'm the boomer. I know I'm the boomer here, but actually you're a 27-year-old dinosaur, aren't you? Aren't you, Nick Fuentes? All women...
I am.
All women are annoying. All women grow
fossil.
old. They all get fat. Says the guy... have you ever had sex?
No, absolutely not.
Wow. Says the guy who's never got laid.
Like, if you're laughing at that, okay, fine. Fine, laugh at that.
You
But,
went-
like, other parts where you're laughing about him explaining and elucidating an ideology of putting all black people in prison. Yeah, I don't... Is he gay? Is he not? I don't know.
To see Trump at Mar-a-Lago with Ye
ridiculous.
For dinner. What was that like?
It was very interesting. They're my two heroes. Ye is my hero. Trump is my hero. Even though he's very disappointing, I still a personal hero of mine. And he's a remarkable person. It was a great conversation. We got along pretty well. He liked me. I liked him. It was a love fest.
By the way, it's also kind of funny that Piers Morgan is having this guy on his show and is like allegedly so upset by him. But Piers Morgan also fucking worships Trump. He's attracted to Asmongold and Hitler stashes. I think he may be. I think he might do that. But thank you, Meg or Maggie. Thanks for the $2. Piers roasted Nick. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Piers could not roast him because Piers Morgan is also just a fucking racist. Also, wait, let's listen to this part.
And you try to come across as moderate, but every now and again the mask slips, and it slipped again here with what you say about Hitler. There's nothing very fucking cool about Hitler. We know that from history now. We know what he did. You've already conceded that he murdered at least 6 million Jews. So when you say he's very fucking cool, Jewish people watch this and go, this guy's disgusting. Why would he say this about someone who perpetrated such an evil?
Doesn't he also think, like, Piers Morgan is, like, fucking based and shit like that? Piers Morgan is someone... Elon Musk. Doesn't he think Elon Musk is based? Elon Musk is the guy who let this guy back on X, the everything app. But yeah, when he swore, I liked that bit. When Piers Morgan said the F word. Oh my God.
What's the real answer? Why do you? Is it just for clicks? Is it for money? Is it just for fun? For shits and giggles? What is it? What motivates you to say something like Hitler was very fucking cool?
It's for this. It's for all of this. And the lack of self-awareness is amazing. You're a boomer. You're a 60-year-old boomer. And we've spent maybe 3 minutes on you saying, he's a really fucking monster. He incinerated people. And I'm sitting here saying it's not that serious. It's not that deep. And,
not that
and what
serious.
I'm getting at...
Not that serious.
Do you want to say more about...
Well, you're not
he's a monster?
Piers is like, just like listening to a guy like Piers Morgan try to challenge Fuentes. Like, how do you? Because over and over again, you have defended Israel. You have regularly brought on the people who, sure, may not be incinerating on the scale of, the Nazis at the zenith of their exterminationist policies. They may not be running gas chambers, but they are certainly killing huge amounts of people, and you bring on their spokesman and defend them and continually attack and demonize the others. You think that Elon Musk is awesome. You think that Trump is awesome.
You're not a kid yourself anymore. You're not a teenager.
I know.
Right? You're nearly 30, to be clear.
Yeah,
okay? You're a fully formed adult who has a brain, right? And at some stage, that brain is taking you off these rabbit
warrens. Is this an
warrens.
interview or is this a lecture? Can I respond to what you're saying?
I want you to explain why you think it's fine to say how fucking cool Hitler is and to dismiss the very powerful 90 seconds from a British journalist who lost a lot of family members to the Nazis in such a callous, dismissive manner?
I don't think it's powerful. I think we've been hearing that our entire lives. Okay, the Schindler's List. Let's just be honest. The propaganda is over the top. We have been in America.
What about
and
the Schindler's
everywhere.
List?
Hey,
Tell me
hang on,
about
can
the
I
Schindler's
respond?
List. Well, tell me about the Schindler's List.
I'll tell you about it. We have been browbeaten as a people, as Americans, as Westerners, for our entire lives. And do you know what this has done? It has taken away any sense of pride, any sense of love for our own civilization. We have been made the villain in our own.
This is also really, really just flat out stupid logic, because a big part of, like, all of this is people support Israel, and Israel is largely an expression. People are like, you have to support Israel because of what happened in the 1930s and 40s. And you have to, but that's also because Israel defends our values. You know that the guy that he brought on is Daniel Finkelstein, who is literally a deranged pro-Israel person. Like, he is literally someone that is unequivocally pro-Israel.
Own story. We have been made because, well, let's just be clear. It doesn't begin and end with Hitler is a monster. This has been the political narrative, which is why we have thrown open the borders. This is a political narrative, which is why we can't be a conservative society as a whole anymore, why we can't be proud of Europeans, why we can't be proud of being Christian, because they've told us if you're too white and too proud and too Christian, it's going to lead to a Holocaust. And so my generation, our entire lives,
honestly, Nick
it's true,
Fuentes,
and that's why people like me. That's why I'm popular, because this is bullshit.
Shit. Honestly,
yeah, it's a crock. We don't want to hear any more about me mom and me dad. That's the crock of shit.
No, listen. What you just said is a crock of shit, and you
it's
know
true.
it.
It's called the open society.
Also, by the way, like, Piers Morgan does not dedicate himself to dealing with any of this. Like, already this stuff is, like, rising up again, you know? Did I say Germany's not in the West? Wait, why are you saying that?
And in your gut, you know it is. You weaponize this stuff.
You know.
You weaponize this stuff for money, but you know when you say something like what you just said.
I'm banned from banking. I'm banned from banking and credit cards. You know who you're talking to?
Yeah,
I do it for money.
And by the way,
how much money you make?
By the way, also, this is such a funny allegation for Piers to level at Nick Fuentes. Everything this man does is about clicks, views, likes, and money. He holds no real moral principles apart from being a right-winger. He is full-on someone whose only qualm with someone like Nick Fuentes is that he takes it a bit too far, you know? Like, he loves fucking, like, Elon Musk. He loves Trump. He's regularly like, the liberals are all saying bad things about Trump, but he got peace in Palestine. He had Douglas Murray host his show when he was ill or went away for a week. Douglas Murray is literally just a British propagandist for the state of Israel who lies about Palestinians for the Israeli government so more and more of them can be slaughtered. He is a liar, an odious fucker who has no problem with spreading anything about the Palestinians that leads to their extermination. And he hosted Piers Morgan's show. Like, Douglas Murray is a crazy extremist, like a real extreme guy. If you look at the history of his rhetoric and the things that he actually says, you know. And then when it comes to Nick Fuentes, you're just upset because he takes it a bit too far. But it's not about people in the Middle East.
But he's worth $100 million. Your company's worth $100 million. I was banned from Bank of America.
And you shouldn't
I'm
have
banned
been.
from processing credit cards.
And you shouldn't have been.
But I am. So don't tell me I'm doing it for money.
Well, ask me my opinion about that. I'll tell you you shouldn't have been. Right? I don't agree with that. What happened to you?
Then don't say I'm doing it for money, because you know that full well, and you say it's a grift.
How much money
if I wanted to be a grifter, I'd be like you, and I would go and say,
how much money are you making?
I'm making a lot of money now.
Yeah.
Now that I'm the #1 live streamer in America, because people agree with me more than they agree with you. We're tired of hearing about slavery and the Holocaust and Jim Crow. We're done hearing about that.
By the way, also, Piers Morgan is constantly saying this kind of stuff, that he literally wrote a book called Woke is Dead. All of these things, like discussing these things that happened historically, like slavery and all of this stuff, is considered part of woke. BLM and all of this stuff is considered part of woke, and you were like, oh, it's dead. These two people are not really that different.
You guys overplayed
I'm not
your
done
hand.
hearing about that.
Okay, well, your generation's on the way out, and Generation Z is coming up, and we're finished with that. We're ready to take our country back.
I've got three
we're
sons.
not listening
I've
to
got
crying
three
minorities
sons.
anymore.
I've got.
So Finkelstein, seemingly, not Norman, the guy who Piers Morgan brought on to talk about the Holocaust, apparently said, I had to put to Finkelstein support of Wilder's racist call for fewer and fewer ethnic Moroccans in the Netherlands. Wilder's later attempted to sanitize this endorsement by claiming he only wanted criminal Moroccans to be forced out and other Moroccans to be voluntarily repatriated. Wilder's views supporting the mass deportation of Muslims from Europe are well known. Finkelstein was utterly nonplussed, insisting that Wilders deserved the population to deserve the platform to air such views. Once again, these people like Daniel Finkelstein only have a problem because these people are not saying these views about Muslims. Nick Fuentes says it about everyone. These people say whatever they want about Palestinians and enable their slaughter right now. And this is kind of the last thing we'll watch of this.
PLC, they're literally counting down the days until whites are a minority in America. So forgive me if I don't believe them when they talk about compassion. There's a genocide going on right now. It's not against the Jews.
How many Christians are there?
In Gaza, it's against whites.
How many Christians are there in the world? Like me
1 point some billion. Yeah, 2 billion.
How many Jews are there?
15 million.
Okay. So with a straight face, you're going to tell me the world is being overrun by the Jewry, by 15 million people, when there are over 1 billion Christians. There is a genocide of Christians like poor old Nick Fuentes going on at the hands of these 15 million Jews. Really?
See, this attitude is why you're losing. When you say
who am I losing to?
White people,
who am I losing to?
White people.
Who am I losing to?
You're seeing it. Mass migration. You're losing.
You know that this guy is literally personal friends with Trump and is like proud of it. Piers Morgan, that is.
Losing to me. We are losing as a civilization of mass migration. And here's the difference. In Israel, they have my politics. In Israel, they want to maintain a Jewish majority. If they had it their way, it would only be Jewish people. They're fighting like hell so that Jewish people can have as much territory, a Jewish state. They can be proudly Jewish in their own land. Whereas in America, we are being besieged by 10 million illegal immigrants in 4 years. And then whites and Christians are going to be the minority. And that's true in Canada, Australia, all the countries in Europe. So you could say there's 2 billion people, but what's the proportionality? What is the percentage of people being born that are white? Where's the arrow pointing? Where are we going to be in 50 years? In 50 years, there might be in Israel. In 50 years, there isn't going to be a white Christendom.
I like how Piers just could not answer that because it's the same thing that he whines about Fuentes doing and like he worships in the context of Israel. Like literally the guy who he had to talk about his experience of extermination was just like a major pro-Israel figure. Listen to this. Wait. Look at the guy that Piers Morgan had to talk to Nick Fuentes. An Israeli drone will not have targeted a child, full stop. October 20th, 2024. And also, yeah, I mean, the thing is that, populations will grow, but what can you do? Like, this is a product of capitalism. You want it to change, move away from capitalism. Stop creating a world in which human beings need to come to the United Kingdom to escape, or wherever, to escape the economic degradation and violence in their societies normally provoked by Western governments and their continual support for dictatorships. But yeah, I think just watching Piers Morgan and his failure to deal with that, like, realistically, he's a guy that constantly goes on about the woke mindset and brings on fucking Douglas Murray. Fuck that guy and fuck him for, like, kicking his feet and dragging his feet over Nick Fuentes and crying. Sure, Nick Fuentes is a fucking horrible guy, but you are friends with Donald Trump. Donald Trump had dinner with Nick Fuentes. That wasn't a mistake. That wasn't just something he did by accident. He knew full well who he was. You think that Fuentes will get whacked? I don't know. I don't know. Who's going to whack him? Big pussy Saw Bomponsero? But yeah, that is enough of that, certainly. Right. So what news stories were we going to do today? Oh, fuck. So there's kind of a crazy story that's emerged coming out of America right now. We'll watch this little Channel 4 news video.
Is very, very eager to get as big as it can, as quickly as it can. CEO David Ellison and his father, Larry Ellison, who the billionaire behind Oracle, they very much believe that they have an opportunity to scale up and create a very big media empire to take on some of the tech giants like Apple and Amazon. That's ultimately what this is all about. It's about Paramount trying to get really big, and it's doing this with a hostile bid for all of WBD. So now, in some ways, this is off to the shareholders to decide who has the superior offer for the assets.
And so it went.
So, in case you don't know what's going on, this is a really interesting story. So, David and Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison is the billionaire father, owner of Oracle, if I remember correctly, and his son, who have already acquired a huge amount of assets, are now trying to move. They acquired Paramount. They are now trying to acquire Warner Brothers, which Netflix was nearly in the process of buying. And now they've launched a hostile bid where they're going over the top and going directly to shareholders.
To the board.
So I would love to hear your insider opinion, Sophie.
And now it's going to shareholders. It's a lot more money than was previously put on the table. Do you think that some shareholders might think, we've got low ball offers in the past, do we really believe what's going on? And do we like how this has been handled?
Paramount is engaging in a really intense PR campaign today, saying we've got a superior offer, it's an all-cash offer, it'll be approved more quickly, and it'll be better for Hollywood. We haven't really heard Warner Bros. Discovery or Netflix's response to that yet, so that is what we are now waiting for. Some of it, though, can be predicted. We can predict that Netflix will say that it's up against giant rivals like Google's YouTube. We can predict that WBD will say that its linear cable channels, including the one I work for, CNN, are valuable and should be valued more highly by Paramount or by another bidder. So this is far, far from over, and honestly, it's a lot like an episode of HBO's Succession.
It really is like an episode of Succession, by the way. So this story is just like genuinely crazy. The things that Paramount are on the brink of controlling are unbelievable. And you can also add into TikTok, I believe. So this could be what they control. This could be what they end up controlling. CBS, Paramount Studios, CNN, MTV, HBO, no more Sopranos. Everyone in The Sopranos is now Israeli, and they just whack Palestinians. Comedy Central, no more South Park. It's just a show laughing at Palestinians. Do you remember those, like, joking Israeli cartoons? No, the Israeli comedy. Wait, I want to see if I can find the... This is all you're going to be allowed to watch.
On TikTok? No, yet! Over there! Gaza! We are here! We have come to save you! Stop the war! Stop the war!
Guys, amazing news! They stopped the war!
What? They signed a ceasefire after we demanded a ceasefire?
Yeah.
How dare they?
Yes! I mean, I put my whole life on hold for this struggle. Everything. My career, I mean, my relationship, my rooftop Pilates.
It's also really fucking stupid because, like, and unfunny to anyone who's from outside of Israel. Because, like, weird fucking Pilates, yoga, like, all of this shit. Why on earth would anyone think that that is not something associated with Israel? They're always proud of themselves for, like, doing the oddest things. Do you remember when they did mass yoga in Israel to, like, and there's also, like, a fucking genocide yoga woman in the West Bank. Like, literally, I go on X, and there's, like, a video, you can see Israeli soldiers doing yoga in a destroyed house in Gaza. Like, oh, fucking fuck off. Like, you think that you're some kind of, like, cool epic. This is them. This this is what you're going to have to watch. Paramount Plus, Larry Ellison. By the way, also, this kind of stuff is unbelievable. Larry Ellison is Tony Blair's biggest backer. He gave huge amounts of money to the Tony Blair Institute, his fucking think tank. He's having a bad week if this doesn't go through, because Tony Blair's no longer on the Gaza Board of Peace. But, like, they're just this shit. Like, this is what you're going to have. Kids TV will just be, like, shows about why Arabs are evil. Warner Brothers, Harry Potter, they're just going to only be able to cast spells that are, like, help Israel be created. I bet Expecto Patronum will somehow have something to do with the creation of Israel, because doesn't it lead you where something matters or something? And they're all going to have to do Krav Maga, and they'll constantly mention it. Batman will just be a guy who is, you know, fucking, like, beats up pro-Palestinian activists and will be like, oh, God, he'll be there. He'll go like, the Joker is bad, but he never supported Palestine. DC Studios, so we just mentioned that. Fandango, don't know what that is. New Line Cinema, The Lord of the Rings. Palestinians will just be the orcs. They're just going to edit Yasser Arafat's face onto the orcs. TNT Sports, no more football. You can only just watch Israeli sport. TBS and Oracle and more. Here's Loafbat's insider thoughts. David and Larry want a monopoly. CBS will use this as an opportunity to bust the technical, director and writer unions. CNN busted theirs in the early 2000s, and MS Now is setting the precedent. I mean, yeah. I mean, these people look like they're about to control huge amounts of media, including TikTok as well. Like, they have total control over everything. And, like, the same people who are like, yeah, I'm really worried about, like, government controlling us. They have no care about what's going on. They have no care that this is happening, that all of this stuff is being seized. We heard the billionaires talking about this at their conference, where they were like, everyone's an anti-Semite, TikTok's bad for the kids and stuff. But the funny thing is, by the way, and I say this over and over again, do not tell me that TikTok is some kind of platform that was pro-Palestine before. There was a small gap just before October the 7th, but the level of censorship on that platform, I am sorry, I have not magically fallen off on this platform. I have 400,000 followers, but part of the reason that I have given up, and I know some people will be like, it's not about making money. If you want to do this as a job, if you have put in so much effort into researching, wanting to make videos, and regularly those videos will just be pushed down when you put effort in, what are you going to end up doing? You're just going to end up producing rubbish content constantly, because that's the thing that's going to go out and be seen by people. It is utterly ridiculous. And so, like, moving over here where you can build up a stable audience, where you can actually see growth, it feels like on this platform that I've been using, where I have spoken about Palestine for so long, that I would have weeks that were insane, where I'd pull in millions of views, and then inexplicably, apparently everyone started hating me. Like, or didn't start watching my content. There is no way to build up a sustainable income to turn this into any kind of career. Do you want to know a crazy fact? For this video with 324,000 views, guess how much I got paid? Let's get some guesses in the chat. It's really interesting. CNN will be the news side. CBS Sports will be kept. Really interesting that'll be kept. But I hadn't even thought about the context of them just smashing the unions. £80, way too high, way too high. My guess is that this will be a precedent for a total monopoly, maybe a Disney/Comcast merger. I mean, horrifying that is like a plausible thing that might happen. 7,000. Yeah, I got paid $7,000. 100 rubles. Some of you have got pretty close with $10. I got paid £12 for this, for a video with 324,000 views. The one before this has 15,000 views on this platform. It has 15,000 views on this platform. So it's not only about the money. Like, oh, I'm fine. Like, I'm more than happy. And through your guys' support, like, doing this is so much more viable. And thanks to Ethan's Basement, who will be allowed to eat, he will be allowed to eat maybe a little bit this month for editing his videos. And he'll be let out the basement. But It's just ridiculous. Like, why would I want to be on a platform that incentivizes low-effort content that revolves entirely around breaking a news story first and hoping that you get lucky with the algorithm that you perfected the first 3 seconds of it, versus a platform like this where you can have way longer form conversations and people can give you their insights and their thoughts and feelings about stuff. Like, you know, I hadn't thought at all about this angle of union busting in the context, like hearing from someone who's actually from there. On this, you get nothing, and it'll just be stuff like this. So let's just look. I have 128,000 followers on Instagram, by the way. So like a smaller platform. That video has 7,000 likes on Instagram. 7,000 likes on a platform where I have 400,000 followers. It has 4,000 likes. How does that make sense to any of you? I don't give a shit. I want people to see content that I make. But like, you know, it's crazy. Like, what am I supposed to do? Why would I bother with this platform? Why would I bother with this kind of short form content? When if I made dog shit fucking slop, I'd be getting paid stacks. But because I dare to talk about politics, oh no, you know, I lose out on my chance to receive anything. These videos about Sudan, they were suppressed in the algorithm previously. It's only because loads of people were searching them that all of a sudden that there were views. But like, that's it. I can't be bothered with this platform anymore. And I think that there are great people who are doing the job, who maybe did the job better than I ever could. And it's not just about earning. I don't want to earn millions of pounds from like from this. This is not the interest of it. If I have enough money to live, and you know, it's a risk starting to it's a risk to start making content online and to do this kind of stuff. And especially when it's something like Palestine and all of a sudden you can be, you know, you can threaten your future job opportunities. Ethan Klein would pay you a lot if you made dog shit, 100%. And I'm sorry for kind of going on this rant. I've always wanted to talk about TikTok myself, my problems with it, and kind of coming kind of coming over to here and how much I prefer this and think it's a way nicer and better platform. But simultaneously, I don't want people to ever fall into this notion that TikTok is pro-Palestine. I am pretty confident that they have some form of algorithm that operates basically around preventing you from ever growing like a sizable, consistent audience with political content that is consistently about Palestine by dropping the views of it intentionally whenever you have a video that bangs. And like, actually, looking at my profile, a lot of these videos have got way more views than I realized because I haven't looked at them in ages, which is fucking crazy. But even then, kind of to me, it's only because I've stopped uploading that that's the case. But yeah, like, I'm one of the biggest pro-Palestine content creators on the platform, and I can't build up an audience. Oh, by the way, already, these, like, since I've, like, started this is way more viable as, like, a career option. This is way more viable as something that I'm actually enjoying, where, like, I get to research and prep for a stream and think about it and stuff. But yeah, I mean, just like talking about a topic like this doesn't fucking happen on TikTok, you know? No one's gonna watch it because it's not attention grabbing. Unless I was like, Succession is happening in real life? But yeah, the thing is as well, this is such corrupt bullshit. The Wall Street Journal had an article about this. You know what? Let's just go through the Wall Street Journal article because it's really short, so you don't have to endure me reading for too long. It is kind of crazy how much it's like Succession, though. Life is imitating art? Question mark. Okay, here we go. I got contacts in Qatar. I'll ask if they can do anything for you. Chef's kiss. How much success beyond Hassan Ethan Klein drama. And with the 2 times he got interviewed. Exactly. Chris is surrounded by Mossad honeypots. Yeah, that's my life. I'm just always getting honey. You know the thing where Sideshow Bob walks into the rakes? I just get hit in the face by Mossad honeypots. But yeah, 500 odd for someone who's been streaming for less than a year and took, a fucking 5-week break and has also taken multiple breaks and has not been consistent enough on streaming for long is good, And especially when today was not like the most exciting. It's clearly the things grow. YouTube full-time. Your presence benefits the platform. Yeah, thank you, and I really enjoy streaming, and especially as British leftists. We don't have many great British leftists online. But thank you all for supporting. But yeah, so he got ghosted. David Zaslav, the CEO of Warner Brothers, ghosted David Ellison, the son of Larry Ellison. This guy looks like just a nerd as well, so what can I say? Yeah, do you not remember? I was like on a 5-week break. I barely streamed when I was in Montreal because I didn't enjoy it. But yeah, so Paramount had spent the morning of December 4th finalizing a 6th bid to acquire an all-cash near $80 billion offer, but Paramount was worried that Warner had already settled on their preferred dance partner, Netflix. Just tried calling you about a new bid we have submitted, Ellison texted Zaslav. I heard you on all your concerns and believe we have addressed them in our new proposal. Please give me a call back when you can to discuss in detail. But yeah, he didn't hear back. Sensing trouble, Ellison followed up, saying Paramount had offered a package that covered all the issues Warner had raised, including the need for a strong cash value and speed to close. It would be the honor of a lifetime to be your partner and to be the owner of these iconic assets. Like, they'll just make them more pro-Israel. And it's not like these institutions, and rising up through these institutions, that being a staunch advocate for Palestine has been great for. But it is troubling that, very, very, very pro-Israel organizations are going to be taking these over. That billionaires who love priding themselves on it, pride themselves on supporting Israel are going to be doing this. That like a guy who's funded a key figure in the Trump peace plan, i.e. Larry Ellison and Tony Blair, is doing this. I, for one, welcome our Zionist overlords. Yeah. Brilliant stuff. On Friday, concerns were realized. Warner and Netflix announced a deal for the streaming giant to acquire the iconic Warner and HBO properties for $72 billion, a proposed merger that could radically reshape entertainment. Crazy that Netflix can do that. I assume it must have been an improvement with their fucking not letting us use other people's accounts unless you pay obscene amounts of money. And you asked about how the Loner Box thing went. I'm happy with some things. I'm not happy with everything. I think when you talk for 4 hours, and I'm not like a trained debater, that you don't stick on everything that you'd like. But I don't think I made a fool of myself. I think I dispelled the notion that all I can do is shout, as some people claim from the previous one. And I think I made some good points of like kind of pointing out Loner Box what he is, at times. And I'm glad that it was more cordial than previous ones, Like, I don't think going in and attacking is really the method that I do very well with. But yeah. And I think a lot of people saw it, and I think a lot of people watched, and they saw me talk, and probably it gained me some support, and I think that that's a good thing to grow and have more people learning and understanding this. I think it's all fake money. They'll leverage... No, Henry. So, Henry, you are wrong. It's not fake money. The money is very, 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 very much real. Dropsite did a great breakdown of this. So there'll be $12 billion directly from the Ellison family. They've bid $108 billion directly as a hostile takeover to shareholders, with huge amounts of cash. But yeah, 24 billion from Middle Eastern sovereign wealth funds, UAE, Saudi, and Qatar. That is also really problematic, right? Like, most people are just like, and this is the other thing, most people are like obsessed, or like people like fucking Fuentes obsess over like, the Jewish people are controlling the media. Is it not pretty weird that these, Middle Eastern countries can just like get up a huge amount of money and use it to take over a Western company with like the pro-Israel billionaires. Like, that's very troubling to me, and I don't think that that's a good thing. 1 billion from China's Tencent, that's okay because they're Mao and he killed 60 million people and leftists like that. An undisclosed amount from Jared Kushner's private equity firm, Affinity Partners, and a $54 billion debt fully committed by Bank of America, Citi, and Apollo. So $54 billion is in debt, so you're kind of right. Well, actually, it's half and half. So half is directly in the money there, like now. Maxime Veer, thank you for becoming a member. I'm of a higher Middle Eastern, you know. As I said, I'm available. I don't want to do, like, debate coaching, liking rhetoric, and getting into a lot of arguments with my dad as a teenager. Those are good credentials, though, important credentials. And I didn't say, I'd do that. And, you know, if I had one thing, it is funny, and I think, like, you know, like, joking about it is okay, but I think, like, bringing it up on a thing is, you know, I think if most people's sex got exposed, it's just kind of the context of what his are that, you know, like, kind of comical, like sexting someone who's like just called Kosher Katie and is really pro-Israel. I don't know, but I didn't need to bring it up because I'd done it once already and I didn't want to do it again. You know, I didn't want to do it again. But yeah, all of this money is fucking crazy. When the missing chunk is 17.2 billion. Fuck me, is that the case? Have you just worked that out already? Oh, sorry, Mr. Maths Whiz Kid Henry. Oh, sorry about you. Yeah, there is a red sun in the sky. Since you want to be a YouTuber, hell yeah. Well, I'm becoming a YouTuber. I'm becoming a YouTuber through my tricks of the trade that I'm learning. But I guess it must be 17 billion if you've worked that out. Because what? That's like basically 36 billion. Yeah, it must be around that amount. It's a 1% and just rich people regardless of nationality. Oh, 100%. I'm on a computer, you plank. It's called a calculator. What's that? No one will have a calculator in their pocket, young man. But I can give Chris some acting/training about stage presence since I used to do musicals in high school. Theatre kids, eh? But yeah, I mean, like, just this happening is troubling. Like, it is troubling, and just, you know, this kind of stuff being a thing that can go on. And you're right, it is just rich people. And I think that that's kind of the thing, that, like, these foreign companies and these foreign sovereign wealth funds can hold such influence over our politics is crazy, and can have the capacity to control so much of our media alongside, you know, billionaires who are interested in dividing up Gaza and giving it to Tony fucking Blair. Oh, fuck. A British soldier got killed in Ukraine. Sorry, I'm not going to detract massively. And it's not like it's not like they've been killed by Russia. They got killed by accident by Ukraine. It is with deep regret we must announce that a member of the UK Armed Forces died in Ukraine this morning, Tuesday, 9th of December. He was injured in a tragic accident whilst observing Ukrainian forces test a new defensive capability away from the front lines. The family has been notified, and our thoughts are with them at this sad and difficult time. Pete, that's unfortunate for whoever, but why they, you know... No, if you're a former soldier, it's different. That's like an active serviceman. I think he's probably the first person to be killed in Ukraine who's in active service and will be, like, said as such, but maybe I'm wrong. I think former soldiers are a different case that you can sign up independently and just go over and do that shit. But it's like, well, you know, it's not someone being killed by Russia, so it's not like a huge diplomatic incident, at least. What the fuck were they doing in Ukraine? Supporting Ukrainian troops, I guess, is their argument. There's insufficient infrastructure for renewables/nuclears in the West. In China, there's a crazy amount of infrastructure, but apparently we don't want to buy Chinese panels that they're producing in case they surveil us. But yeah, this kind of stuff is crazy. Ellison's concerns were realized. We read that. Ellison's father, billionaire Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison, a Trump ally, called the president after the Netflix deal and told him the transaction would hurt competition, according to a White House official and a person familiar with the matter. An Oracle spokeswoman didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. During a visit to the Washington in recent days, David Ellison offered assurances to the Trump administration that if it bought Warner, he'd make sweeping changes to CNN, a common target of President Trump's ire, people familiar with the matter said. Trump has told people close to him that he wants a new ownership of CNN, as well as changes to CNN programming. It is kind of amazing that we just have the most corrupt president ever. Like, all presidents are corrupt. Like, undeniably, they are corrupt. But I think in this context of just, I think in the context of how fucking corrupt they all are, with the comparison of Trump just like openly doing shit like this with his son-in-law, who, has been working alongside these Middle Eastern countries, has been cutting private deals with them. But yeah. Don't ever call me a theatre kid again. Sorry, a musicals kid. Sorry. I mean, rationally, they can't use the FCC to intervene on Netflix deal and then allow Paramount to do one, surely. I think, Henry, you are placing far too much rationality on the current American government. I think you are placing way too much rationality on them. They may well do something like that. This is the most corrupt American government that we've ever seen. And the level of corruption scandals going on here are amazing. The White House declined to comment. A White House official said they don't comment on Trump's private conversations. Not ready to give up, Paramount on Monday launched a hostile takeover for Warner, taking its case directly to shareholders. Ellison says his offer for Warner is a better deal for shareholders and more likely to pass regulatory muster. Paramount said its offer provides shareholders $18 billion more in cash than Netflix. We're really here to finish what we started, Ellison said on CNBC Monday morning. 3 Middle East sovereign wealth funds and Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, are among the financial backers of Paramount's bid. I wonder how much kickback he's getting. I genuinely wonder how much kickback that Trump and his boys will get from this. I mean, Kushner's his fucking son-in-law, so it wouldn't surprise me if it's a lot. Sorry. I also really am gonna have to pee in a second. You probably can't see me, but it looks like I'm kissing the desk. What can I say? An Australian national. What, Rupert Murdoch? Yeah, already this bad stuff is existing. It's just kind of crazy stuff that this pro-Israel billionaire who's also trying to take over TikTok, who has attempted to put into power has attempted to put into power Tony Blair in Gaza by funding his think tank and backing him for years is crazy. And yeah, get the likes up. Get me to 200. In fact, I'll put us up there. Someone just unliked. Warner's board says it planned to stay the course with Netflix. The fight for Warner has become a battle between Paramount, the 113-year-old Hollywood institution, and Netflix, the technology startup entertainment juggernaut, with a huge library of classic movies and television, including Casablanca, The West Wing, as well as HBO home to The Sopranos and Game of Thrones. Warner is considered a crown in the jewel of Hollywood. Trump has so far avoided backing a bidder. None of them are particularly great friends of mine, he said at a White House round table. A person close to Trump said the president will want Paramount and Netflix to compete for his approval of the deal. It is so odd. Trump has told aides he wants to be kept regularly apprised of any potential antitrust probe into Netflix's deal for Warner. A spokeswoman for Attorney General Pam Bondi said, while it is still early days, she and the DOJ's antitrust division will oversee this merger. Ellison, who recently merged his Skydance production company with Paramount, had long planned to pursue Warner. He saw Paramount as too small on its own to compete against Netflix, Disney, and others. According to people familiar with his thinking, Paramount genuinely needs an acquisition to compete with Netflix, Disney, and Amazon, all of which enjoy a substantial head start in a global scale. Content output and engagement, said Moffett Nathanson, analyst Robert Fisherman, in a statement on Monday. But yeah, it's just, I mean, you can finish the article yourselves if you wanted, but it is just fucking crazy what is going on, and just like all of this money flowing in for them to control all of this stuff, and ostensibly TikTok too. Like, all of your money, all of your things will be delivered by pro-Israel billionaires. And also, by the way, the other thing that is like semi-worrying about all of this is Larry Ellison said, oh, for fuck's sake, Larry Ellison said once predicted, citizens will be on their best behavior amid constant recording. Now his company will play a key role in social media. He said that there will be like constant surveillance of us, so we will always be on our best behavior. And now he's going to control huge amounts of media and all of these things. And I don't think any of the people controlling it previously had the best wishes of human beings at heart. I don't think they did. I don't think it's true. But yeah. And like the fact that they can just promise to make sweeping changes to fit the whims and wills of a deranged old man are truly amazing. You're all being surveilled in the Chris Kunzler YouTube channel, so you all better be on your best behavior. Also, quickly, I'm going to go pee, so I'm going to go put some Riyadh Awad on. Once we're back, we're going to talk about the noose thing going on in Israel, which is crazy. I'm back, and my ears are a bit blocked, and I don't know why. Sorry also if I've not been as at it today, it's just a bit difficult, like yesterday, I took it out of me. And shout out if any of you are interested, it's Riyadh Awad Intifada. There's also, by the way, we'll just watch this before we get into this fucking noose thing. There's an interesting story about, there's just like an interesting video that I haven't seen about Ahmed al-Shara with an interesting anecdote.
A past of being a terrorist. I mean, you worked for Al-Qaeda. What do you say to people in this room, in foreign capitals, about where your heart and your mind and your allegiance is now?
أولا الحكم بأني كنت إرهابي فهذا هناك كثير من الأحكام مسيسة في الدولة في العالم الآن تجري. فالأحكام على أشخاص بأنهم إرهابي تحتاج إلى دلائل وبراهين. لأن ماذا يعني كلمة إرهابي؟ ما هو تعريف الإرهاب أساسا؟ منذ أكثر من 25 سنة انطلقت هذه العناوين في العالم وكان هناك اختلاط في فهم معنى الإرهابي. ماذا يعني إرهابي؟ الإرهابي في تصوري هو الذي يقوم بقتل الأبرياء والأطفال والناس ويستعمل الوسائل الغير الشرعية في إيذاء الناس. فإذا وضعنا هذا التوصيف على دول كثيرة في العالم فنجد أن عدد الضحايا الذين وقعوا في غزة تقريبا 60,000 إنسان وأغلبهم من الأبرياء. النظام السوري خلال 14 عام قتل أكثر من 1,000,000 إنسان في سوريا، وهناك لدينا إلى لحظتنا هذه أكثر من 250,000 إنسان مفقود مغيب، يعني غير معلوم مصيره. نحن حررنا كل السجون لكن لم نجد هؤلاء الناس الذين اختفوا، وتسبب بتهجير أكثر من 14 مليون إنسان ثم لا يسمى إرهابي. فلذلك أنا أعتقد أن بعد 25 سنة أصبح لدى الناس وعي بمعنى كلمة إرهابي ومن يستحق هذه الكلمة بالضبط. أما على الصعيد الشخصي فأنا لم أؤذي مدنيا على الإطلاق. قاتلت في جبهات متعددة وأنا قاتلت بنحو أكثر من 20 سنة.
By the way, I mean, people in close proximity to him did carry out a huge massacre of Alawites. He has gone pretty woke. There's a storm in Ireland. By the way, Longshot KDB, can I ask, are you in the north of Ireland? Because you donate in pounds, right? Like, you donate in pounds. I mean, it's interesting to see him say this, and it's interesting that he mentioned Gaza, but the reason I actually brought this up is because of another anecdote that was really interesting.
وقاتلت بشرف، بل العكس تماما، كنت أواجه المخاطر وأعرض نفسي للخطر أنا وكل من معي كي لا يتعرض المدنيون للخطر.
So that civilians would not be put in danger. How many languages do you speak? I speak English fluently. I speak a bit of Farsi, Persian, and I also speak a decent amount of German, but not really that great anymore. You're from... Oh, nice, Kate Longshot KDB.
You have a
I think one of the most interesting parts about when I was in Ireland is when all of a sudden you go to the north, and yes, I know it's part of the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland, but it's still odd you go from using euros to pounds like instantaneously, and it also becomes like all of a sudden your phone works like that. It's not as if it were in the EU, which is interesting. But apparently this is Mohammed Shea there saying that Al-Shara walked past me after saying this at the Doha Forum. I spontaneously extended my hand and muttered, "I'm from Gaza." His eyes widened, smiled, and said, "Gaza?" Then grabbed my arm with both hands to shake my hands, despite being surrounded by an ocean of bodyguards rushing him outside the room. His session was one of the with the most audience, way more than Hillary or Trump Jr., wishing our Syrian brothers and sisters the best. But yeah, interesting. If the Palestinians get self-determination and democracy and they vote for Hamas, don't you think that people will be right to call for total war against them? No? What do you mean? Palestinians have a prerogative to choose whoever they want to be in power. In the same way that, do you think that everyone should be... Because if that were the case, everyone should be launching total war against Israel right now. Because, in fact, we'll let's get on to this. Let's get on to this amazing fucking topic. Amazing topic. Let me just get on to this amazing topic. So, this is what Israeli government ministers have been doing today. Ben Gvir and friends wearing a noose to signal their support for executing detainees, clearly designed to look like a yellow hostage ribbon at first glance. That's Heritage Minister Amichai Eliyahu on the right, who oversees the ethnic cleansing of Sebastia. So here's these guys wearing a golden brooch to support the death penalty for the people that they deem terrorist. The thing is that these people have very, 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 very bizarre views of who are terrorists. They basically are calling for the extermination of anyone who they deem to be a terrorist. I mean, already their government does that, but anyone that they've imprisoned. This man here has tortured to death, or in his prison system, that he proudly speaks of regularly, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, hundreds of people have been tortured to death. And throughout Israel's history, well in excess of 100,000 have been tortured. And it doesn't just exist with him. But this was literally... Look, this is, by the way, where it comes from. I don't know why it looks like he's doing a Hitler salute. I'm sure it's just a bad frame. I don't think Ben Gvir would have been doing a Hitler salute today. Here's Kahana. Kahana held this up, in my understanding, in the context of threatening... he was suspended from the Knesset. You have to go back on the Jewish Telegraph Agency. He was suspended from the Knesset because he threatened Mohammed Miari, who was a member of the the Progressive List for Peace, he waved a hangman's noose at him. So this guy, who referred to a man who referred to the best option for Palestine as slitting the throat of anyone who wouldn't leave the land, he held up a noose for, he has a noose pin to celebrate this guy. Some people said it's to do with Adolf Eichmann. Bull fucking shit. Bullshit. Has this got anything to do with, bullshit. Has this got anything to do with, bullshit. Has this got anything to do with Eichmann? This is, you can see it here. The two are linked together. But they are calling for this new death penalty to be instituted in the Gaza Strip. No, sorry, not in the Gaza Strip. They've already instituted it there. Sorry, you can see I'm tired. But what they want it for is for anyone being... anyone in Israeli prisons that they deem a terrorist. I mean, already they've executed in excess of over 100 people. I'm really sorry that I'm not at my peak today. Yesterday really took it out of me. I actually did loads of prep for today, but I'm just finding it a little hard. So I'll keep going up to 3 hours. But yeah, there's a couple of other things to talk about in relation to Palestine. We also had this beautiful... So this is the BBC's new anti-Semitism training course that has been passed on to Richard Sanders, who is a filmmaker, journalist, and an author. Look at this. Anti-Semites frequently use the word Zionist, or worse, Zio, when they are in fact referring to Jews, whether in Israel or elsewhere. Those claiming to be anti-Zionist, not anti-Semitic, should do so in the knowledge that many Jewish people consider themselves to be Zionists. If these individuals mean only to criticize the policies of the government of Israel and have no intention to offend Jewish people, they should criticize the Israeli government and not Zionists. Ugh. Like, this is pretty similar to what Ethan Klein says, that, like, most Jews are Zionists, so criticizing Israel is immoral and unjust. Like, saying that this is, like, I don't know who has given this to them, but, like, I want you to also listen to someone who I know who got a chance to talk to the BBC. A friend of the Chris Kunzler show.
Disrespect us here. Why do you disrespect us here?
Yes.
I'm asking a genuine question. Why do you disrespect us here? Saying that you're coming here to listen to us and that you're not being defensive, but everyone knows that you're giving very political questions and you're just being very defensive. Why can't you just say to everyone here in this room that the BBC is a propaganda for Israel? Why can't you say to the world, to us, that you don't like the Palestinians, that you're racist against the Palestinians, that the Palestinian lives don't matter? Why can't you just be true?
Like, Ahmed is someone who has lost a huge amount of family in the Gaza Strip. Like, he's a really nice guy. He wrote a great book called, what's the book called? We Are Not Numbers. I know, I've heard, like, very positive things. I actually saw it when I was in Montreal. It's also an organization that he runs. But he is like a really nice guy, and I think the way in which he's confronted, the BBC here is true. Like, they didn't stream South Africa's case at the genocide studies. The genocide case.
Yes. That's my first question. My second question. I really want to understand, and you know that I did not need this report. You did not need to read this report. We all know the coverage of the BBC. I did my master's degree on the BBC coverage, and I've read hundreds of research studies, books, all say that the BBC coverage is very biased to Israel. So we did not need all of this. And you know that Israel and the BBC is very complicit in this genocide. You know that the blood of the Palestinian people who are dying every day is on the hands of the BBC.
Do you remember when they reported about Mohammed Bahar, was that his name? The disabled boy who was killed, who was mauled to death and left to die by Israeli dogs, and they were like, he died a lonely death.
BBC. So my question to you, how do you and your colleagues sleep at night? Thank you.
Like, I'm sorry. I want to see a video of him on the BBC. There's actually a good clip of him on Piers Morgan.
That is actually what genocide is. When you want to kill. Ahmed Anoug is a Palestinian journalist and the co-founder of We Are Not Numbers, whose book of the same name tells the story of young Gazans in their own words. He's also has an extreme story of personal loss in this war.
I think people are upset by the term Zio. I just use the term Zionist to not give them any grounds to critique you on.
And he joins.
I don't know what you mean. Antifa's also frequently use the word Nazi too. What do you mean by that?
Me in the studio now. Ahmed, it's good to see you. I was aware of you because you tweeted in April of last year on X. You posted on X. I blame you, Piers Morgan, me, for their murder and the murder of all innocent people in Gaza. This came after news of you losing a huge number of your family in an airstrike. First of all, my deepest condolences to you over the loss of your family members. And second, I would never judge anyone who fires off intemperate thoughts in a moment. So I didn't take that personally. Thirdly, I was getting that from quite a few people. A lot of those people now are praising me because they think I've switched sides. And to be clear with you, I don't take sides. I never have done.
You very evidently do take sides. By not taking a strong stance on Palestine, you take the side of Israel.
I've tried to platform people on both sides throughout this whole war. I think that's been really important. But it's good to see you in the studio and to meet. We don't know each other. First of all, when you posted that to me, why did you post that? Why did you blame me for what had happened to your family?
Well, thank you for having me first, and thank you for having so many Palestinians on your show. I don't think you can blame me for saying this to you, Piers, because you and I are journalists, and we know how important the role of journalists in this world is. And I've known you for a long time, and I have been following you for a long time. And I have always looked at you as this prominent British journalist. You're one of the most prominent journalists in the world. And then October the 7th happened, and I was watching how you covered the news in Gaza. And you were very angry at this October the 7th, and that's okay. You have the right to be angry at October the 7th.
Were you?
Yes.
You were?
Yes.
You were angry at what Hamas did that day?
Yes,
to
I was.
Israeli people? The slaughter, the mayhem, the murder, the kidnapping of babies and Holocaust. This is...
Hamas also didn't do that. Hamas didn't kidnap a baby. That was it was the Mujahideen brigades.
It's one of the things I kept asking all the Palestinian guests, which is probably why you had a view that somehow I was against the Palestinian people. I wasn't, but I was certainly against anyone that wouldn't absolutely, unreservedly condemn what Hamas did that day.
Also, like, I just think, at what point was this?
That had to be
Did this video come out? Bad journalism kills people. It's now giving me house recommendations. Fuck me. So this was in 2025, probably around this point, or maybe it was a bit before. Why are you talking about Hamas then?
Starting point for any constructive conversation.
Okay, so you've said that for a long, long time. We have been talking about that for 20
But why would that be
20
wrong?
months. It's not wrong to feel angry about what happened. I wholeheartedly stand against harming civilians. All of my work, all of my life, all of my principles is against harming any civilians, whoever they are. I'm against all of that. But my problem, Pierce, is that I have looked a lot for you. And then for the past 20 months, you have been repeating this over and over and over and over again, as if October the 7th was the beginning of everything. And you never looked at what happened before October the 7th and what happened 20 months after October the 7th.
The thing is, Ahmed, I never took a view that anything that happened on either side before October the 7th could possibly justify what Hamas did that day. There is no justification for that scale of terrorist attack. No.
It's hard to listen to. It's hard to listen to someone like this. It's really hard to listen to someone like Piers Morgan talk about this kind of stuff and act as if there's no justification when over and over again he has on people who justify the extermination of Palestinians in Gaza.
Nada. Nothing. So I wasn't prepared to countenance anyone sitting on that chair or in any other location.
And of course, it's a product of what Israel did. It's a product of what Israel did. Killing civilians is not a good thing, but at the same time, it comes directly out of what Israel did. It's not an example of just like evil Palestinian barbarism, and dealing with that in our media is so much more important than what Israel, than like condemning Hamas over and over again.
I was in, who if I said to them, do you condemn what Hamas did? If they refused to answer, then I would challenge them angrily about that, as I would do the other way round, as I am now about what Israel's been doing. So I campaigned against the Iraq War, right? When I was editor of the Daily Mirror, I campaigned.
But you were good friends with Donald Trump, you know?
Against things I think are wrong, and I will challenge and harangue people when I think they're supporting things that are wrong. So I'm just curious though, why you've made it so personal against me. Do you blame me for the loss of your loved ones? I didn't understand that.
Forcing Palestinians...
It is utterly ridiculous.
Forcing Palestinians to apologise for October the 7th proves how disconnected from reality Zionists are. Exactly. Like, what do you think caused this? Forcing, like, someone to apologise 20 months later is truly unbelievable. Thanks for the $5, Meg. But especially Ahmed, who's lost so many family members in Gaza, but any Palestinian, because they're all subjected to the same system of oppression, sure, to varying degrees, and it has different manifestations.
Okay, so everyone appreciates that you stood up against the war in Iraq. We also wanted you to stand up against the genocide that is taking place in Gaza. And you changed your talks recently, and I appreciate that. I love that. But please remember that, Pierce, bad journalism kills. Bad journalism kills people. You know that Israel could not carry out a genocide in Gaza without the justification of the mainstream media. And unfortunately, I don't blame you specifically for the murder of my family.
Well, you did.
I blame all of the mainstream media on the murder of my family, and you were one of them. Unfortunately,
well, you blame me personally.
I blame you personally as one of the mainstream media who justified the murder of the Palestinians and dehumanized the Palestinians.
I never justified the murder of Palestinians. I only said...
Not directly, indirectly.
I only said that
Didn't he celebrate the pager operation?
I believed Israel had a fundamental right and duty to defend its people after that appalling attack, a series of attacks, particularly as Hamas, through its official spokesman on camera...
But also, I mean, I don't think there was a good answer to this yesterday either. Why do you think, being like, Hamas dug all these tunnels, Hamas did this, they just attacked Israel? In no other context would you look at mass land theft against a people who Western governments do kind of believe are like an indivisible, united entity across the Gaza Strip and West Bank, and look at the constant harassment and violence against Palestinians, and look at the land theft, the fact that Israel is offering no solution, and then just expect them to do nothing.
Had said they were prepared and wanted to do this again and again and again.
Well, the thing is,
you talk about genocide,
yeah.
That is genocide. That is actually what genocide is. When you want to kill as many Jews as you can kill.
That's the problem, Pierce.
Yeah, but that is genocide.
No, that is the problem. You always say that they want to kill the Jews.
They do.
That is dangerous. You and I know that.
But they do.
Our problem is not against the Jews.
They don't make any secret of it.
No. Our problem is not with the Jews. And even Hamas' problem is not with the Jews. It is with the Israelis.
Why do they kill so many Jews then?
Why do they kill so many Jews then?
Not kill Jews, they killed Israelis. And I don't justify killing of Israel. It's not that I want them to kill Israelis.
What
But there's a
religion do you
huge
suspect
difference.
most of the Israelis were?
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
No, it makes a huge difference. They were not attacked because they were Jews. They were attacked because they were Israelis.
It is utterly ridiculous.
It's a huge difference. Do
Well,
you
how
say
many-
Coffee lover, good to see you as always. Thanks for the $5. Saw your debate with Lonerbox, and you absolutely dropped some truth bombs. Hashtag truth bomb. Get some coffee on me. I will. I'll get something nice tomorrow or on Thursday. Thank you so much for your donation and your support. But yeah, of course it matters. And they haven't even begun to do any of what they want to do, Israel is. Yeah, it's so funny as well. Like when Lonerbox kept asking me about counterfactuals, as goes on here. The thing about all of these counterfactuals, right, is like there is a very serious reality going on of like mass slaughter. And you're like, well, what if Hamas did it over and over again? Israel has done October the 7th over and over again to Palestinians across different places.
If the people how many of the people who were killed were not Jewish?
It doesn't matter. But would you like?
Of course it matters.
No, it matters. Let me ask you a question. So many Palestinians were killed. Thousands of Palestinians were killed. Would you call Israel killed the Muslims in Gaza? You would say the Palestinians. And the Israelis were Israelis. They were not there as Jews. They were there as Israelis. And that is dangerous, Piers. It's not a religious war. This is a war between colonization and colonized, occupiers and occupied. People who have been living under blockade, under siege, under occupation for the past 77 years. It's not with the Jews. We never had a problem with the Jews. We love the Jews as much as we love the Christians.
But you have a problem with Israelis?
Of course, we have a problem with the Israelis as occupiers.
How can you say you have no problem with the Jews, but you have a problem with the Israelis?
Jesus Christ. Oh. Like, just listening to him being so dense is so comical. And I know that this is a bit of a fucking, like, tangent from what we're doing. But, like, Ahmed coming on with the position of, like, oh, this is all, you know, a fucking, like, this is all bad journalism killing. The bad journalism still goes on.
Given that most Israelis are Jewish.
I'm just astonished that you can't make the difference between the Jews and the Israelis, Piers. It's a huge difference.
Most of them are Jewish.
Yes.
You know that.
Yes, but they're called Israelis.
I'm astonished you would try and draw a distinction.
There's a huge difference.
Hamas don't give a damn about whether they're Israelis or anything else. They care about killing Jews. They made it no secret.
No, listen. I am the last person on earth to defend Hamas.
Good.
But just because I don't like Hamas, that does not make me like amplify and exaggerate in their in what.
Why does this dumbass have a platform? Because Piers Morgan
It is utterly ridiculous.
is willing to say and do anything to get himself more and more views. That's why all of a sudden he switched on Palestine, and why he'd condemn someone like. Why he can condemn someone like Fuentes, but will never confront what he's actually like. Pro-Israel voices will exhaust the whataboutisms until they're red in the face. Meanwhile, Palestine is still occupied, Sudan is still in crisis, and Jewish people are not any safer. Jews are not any safer. Yeah, I agree with you, Meg. Thank you so much for the donation, Meg or Maggie, the $10. But yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. Like, and as well, the notion of like Trump's peace and all of this stuff is not doing anything. Like, people are still being slaughtered. But it is like talking to a 7-year-old. Also, Piers Morgan is a privately educated figure. That's also like a major part. He went to Cumnor House. Wait, is that public? Cumnor House, yeah, it is public. Sorry, I thought that was something that I knew privately that I shouldn't have said. But yeah, he went to an independent fee-paying school between the ages of 7 and 13. And then Chaley School from 13, a comprehensive, followed by Priory School, Lewis, a 6th form. But he's someone who's come from like a privilege, you know.
They think and lie about them. Do you know Ahmed Yassin, the founder of Hamas? Do you know him?
Not personally.
No,
he
was.
No, I don't personally know Ahmed Yassin. He might be a bit dead, Piers.
The founder of Hamas, and he was known as handicap who Israel killed. But anyway, he was once asked, what is your problem with the Jews? And he said it clearly, and I'm quoting him, I don't have a problem with the Jews. If my brother, if my cousin occupied my country and killed me, I would have a problem with them. The problem with the Palestinians...
By the way, this is something that I would really... One of the reasons I recommend Thaura so much, and I've messaged him, and I hope Abed will do it. I'd love to have him on the podcast with Isaac. I think it would be brilliant. And there's an old video on my channel if you really want to watch it. In the final 2 episodes of Thaura, which were released a while ago now, so some of it's outdated, of course, but it's called Genocide and Resistance. I'd recommend you listen to that and hear someone who is actually like a really posh, a really like a clever guy. How do you know that privately? Because a family friend went to school with Piers Morgan. Like a friend of my, a family friend went to school with him and hates him. Like, really does not like him.
Is against Zionism, against Zionists, against Israelis.
So why did they kill innocent Israeli people then? Innocent women, children, grandmothers.
Don't ask me that question.
Why did they kidnap babies? Why did they kidnap Holocaust survivors?
Ask them. Don't ask me. I'm not one of them.
You're trying to explain their ideology, and I'm telling you, they are an undisguised death cult.
It all makes difference.
It's also so funny because, by the way, all of these, this is the kind of language that is so bullshit. This is what Israel has been doing for decades. Death cults, evil terror monsters, genocidal...
It's utterly ridiculous.
Genocidal evil Nazis. When the reality is what are Palestinians like? What are these resistance organizations part of? They are part of the structure of Israeli occupation. Sure, in the UK, you have to say that they're terrorists because that's the government's definition, and I can't quibble that they are designated a terrorist organization. I can't incite support for Hamas. I don't support Hamas, obviously, because that's illegal in my country. But in the context of explaining why they exist, it is very clear that they come from the behavior of Israel towards Palestinians. I hate these propagandists who use religion to justify genocide. No one, no Muslim, no Christian, no Jew has the right to genocide. Of course not. And in any other context, Lemon Mint Cat, these people would be very clear of what they, of why they didn't have a right to do it. But because it's Israel and they think it has some magical special right, they make excuses for it. But thanks for the $5.
Bent on killing as many Jews as they can kill.
It's dangerous when you make this religious war.
It's dangerous when you try and pretend they're not after killing Jews.
Of course not.
And also, by the way, you would never call the Israelis a death cult. These people would never call the Israelis a death cult. But any reason for calling a Palestinian militant organization a death cult would equally apply as to a far greater extent to Israel. Right, like they're the ones who've committed the far grander amount of killings, you know, all over the region.
No, they're not, Piers. Come on. They're after killing...
Come on. You don't think Hamas target Jews?
Of course
because
not.
They're Jewish?
Of course not.
It's nonsense.
No, it's not. I'm surprised that you're saying this, Piers. Genuinely, I'm surprised. There's a huge...
To be fair, I'd be shocked that he comes across and behaves this dense.
Which difference?
You're surprised that I think Hamas target Jewish people?
Of course. Of course I am.
I find that staggering, Ahmed.
Why?
Because it's obviously a ridiculous thing to say.
Why?
Because obviously they target and murder as many Jewish people as they can get their hands on.
Of course not.
And you say it's because they're Israelis, not Jewish.
Because they're occupiers. Because they occupied our country.
And they're Jewish.
No, just because they occupied our country. Because they're colonizers. Because they came to our country, kicked us out in 1948, and they killed thousands of Palestinians, including my grandparents.
You know why Israel was set up. It was set up after World War II, in which Jewish...
Oh, it wasn't set up after World War II. Pro-Israel voices will tell you that the sky is purple. I mean, Piers Morgan may well. Thanks for the $2. Thanks for all your incredibly kind donations today, Meg or Maggie. Chris, have you talked to any lawyers about what you can and can't say?
It is utterly ridiculous.
No, I haven't. They don't care about facts. Thanks for the $2 again, Meg or Maggie. But they don't even not care about facts. Facts which prove to you that Israel is this violent, genocidal state, to them are just like, they're more proof that everyone who's against them are like idiotic, violent extremists. Like he's portraying Ahmed giving the direct fact of Israelis are colonizers, which is a fact, and that's actually somehow proof that he's a dangerous extremist as well. That's what he's trying to portray him as.
People were the victims of an appalling Holocaust by Hitler and the Nazis, where 6 million of them were exterminated purely because of their ethnicity and being Jewish.
That's correct.
So the Jewish people were given the state of Israel.
My country.
Well, okay, I understand that. Listen, I understand that argument. I understand the whole history and the whole argument.
It's
but the
all of the
idea,
story starts
but it
from
wasn't
here.
Israelis given that place. It was the Jewish people.
Yeah, but who?
They were also given it by racist supremacists before 1948. Like, why do you need to keep on saying this? They were allowed to build the pre-state institutions with the British. By the way, I feel like we have gone back to November 2023. Yeah, and I guess it kind of feels that way because I'm watching like an old video. The only problem is said old video is not from November 2023 at all. It's a semi-recent video. It's like a few months ago, like 4 or 5 months.
Who are you to give the Jewish people my country?
I'm not giving it to them.
I'm not talking about you personally. Yeah. I'm talking about those who send the Zionists to come and kill our families and take our lands. We have a problem with the occupiers, Piers. We don't have a problem with the Jews. Actually, I work with the Jews. Like, We Are Not Numbers. The mentor coordinator is Jewish. The chair is Jewish.
Tell me quickly about your book.
Well, this book, it's called We Are Not Numbers. It's the same name of my organization. And in this book, we tell the human stories behind the siege, behind the statistics, behind the numbers that we often see in the news. It is composed of 74 stories written by young people in Gaza, telling their personal stories to the world in a language that the world understands.
So we're hearing. How many members of your family have you lost in this war?
I have no idea. I swear. But I just know that.
But tell me some of them.
I will tell you that on October 2023, my family were sleeping in their home. My father, my 2 brothers, my 3 sisters, and all of their children. 14 nieces and nephews were sleeping, and my cousin. And Israel just dropped a bomb on my family home, killing all of them.
Killed all of them?
All of them. My father, who was 75 years old. My brother, and my younger brother, who was 25 years old, and he was so happy at that time he got a scholarship to do his master's degree in Australia. My 3 sisters, one is a computer engineer, another one is an accountant, another one is a teacher, and 14 kids were slaughtered in my home, Piers.
The other thing, by the way, is they were actually killed for being Palestinians. Like, categorically, they were. They were killed because they got in the way of the Zionist settler colonial project.
14 kids, ranging from 2 to 13 years old. They all had lives, they had dreams, they had the future ahead of them.
Israelis are killed because they are settler colonists. Like, they engage in huge amounts of violence against Palestinians.
And they did not hurt the Israelis. Did not cause them any damage. They were killed as they were sleeping. Do you know my brother-in-law, when he went to this home to retrieve the bodies of his children, he told me that he could not recognize the faces of his children because all of them were torn into body parts. My older sister, Wala, who was a computer engineer, they found the upper half of her body thrown in my neighbor's home. What did she do? She and all of her children. My other sister, she and all of her children. My other sister, she and all of her children. All of them were killed. After that, how many cousins did I lose? I have no idea. How many relatives, how many friends? Yes, for the past 20 months, the people in Palestine, in Gaza, they have been besieged from all sides. And they have been bombed day and night without a moment.
I know, and as you know, I've made it clear, I think this has gone on way too far now. It's completely disproportionate what Israel's done. The blockade was shameful, almost certainly a war crime. This has to stop. My heart goes out to you, genuinely.
Thank you.
For what's happened to your family. It's appalling, and like I say, I don't take it personally that you lashed out at me. I would question why, but I don't take it personally that you did.
He's still upset about it.
I'm glad we've met. I'm very sorry about what's happened to your family.
Thank you.
I would ask you maybe one question, which is simply...
But parroting the narrative that Hamas are a death cult, that's the justification that Israel uses. Regardless of whether you think you're doing something amazing, that you bear no responsibility, you're doing it. You're doing it right now.
Do you blame Hamas at all for bringing the onslaught onto the people of Gaza with what they did on October the 7th? Do you not think that they knew when they did that exactly how Israel would respond?
I have no idea what Hamas thought of when they did the 7th of October. I just know that Israel killed my family, and I know who killed my family. Israel. It was an F-16 that dropped a bomb on my family home, killing all my family. It was Israel who killed my mother 5 years ago. Do you know how? By not allowing her to receive a treatment for her cancer. They died. She died waiting to travel to a Palestinian hospital in the West Bank to receive a treatment. And she died. I just know that Israel starved the rest of the Palestinian people. I know whose weapons are. I know these planes, who they belong to. I know who these weapons
No, I
who they
understand it,
belong
but I
to.
wonder whether you just think that what Hamas did was so heinous on such a spectacular scale that the leaders of Hamas knew.
I also like how he's just like, sorry what happened in Gaza, but then also anytime he mentions what Hamas did, it was heinous, it was spectacular, they're an evil death cult. Like, this language fucking matters. This is not some like new amazing innovation. Like, this is something that is talked about by Edward Said years ago. If you'd bothered to read the work of anyone who was not fucking Douglas Murray or some other Westoid Hitler lover, you know, or Westoid right-winger, you might actually be doing something meaningful.
They knew that Israel would have to respond with enormous force. And they did. And a lot of your family were killed in the response that came. I'm not taking a side. I'm not trying to justify it. I'm just saying Hamas would have known exactly what was going to come back when they did what they did. And I'm just...
By the way, this is also a stupid argument because Israel post-October the 7th, the violence and the level of violence that it engaged in and was permitted to by the international community is on a scale that is unprecedented in the context of Israel and Palestine.
I just wonder whether, as you blame a lot of people, Israel, me, others, whoever, does any part of you also blame Hamas?
Piers, I don't know what Hamas thought when they did the 7th of October. But I know who killed my family. I know who starved the Palestinian people. I know who started all of this problem in the Nakba 77 years ago when they took away my homeland. I'm a refugee, Piers Morgan. And I know all of the evil in the world starts from the cause, the root causes, which is the occupation. Enough, Piers. We need to live in dignity.
I agree with you.
Live in freedom.
Listen,
is it too much to ask for freedom?
Ahmed, I agree with you. You should have exactly the same rights. All Palestinians should have the same human rights as Israelis, as me, as anybody else. I think there should be a two-state solution where Palestine has its own state, exactly as Israel does. I've said that from the start, and I hope we get to that place. And I hope this war and the suffering and the appalling experience that you and your family have had to endure is brought to an end, and that finally we can get to some peace in this very long-running, awful conflict. It's very good to meet you.
Thank you.
Just listening and looking back at this is crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy to listen and look back at this point. Oh, sorry, my feet are itching like crazy. I keep moving my chair around. Jesus. But yeah, it was agonizing to endure. Just kind of interesting to hear peers talking to someone and listening about the context of biased media. Also, what have I turned down? Can you hear me? Ugh. What was I going to search? Oh, Piers Morgan interviewed Netanyahu. Call Piers a wanker, Chris.
If it was an opposition leader who was in power, who was going through a corruption and bribery trial, I don't think you'd have the same view. Prime Minister, thank you very much indeed for agreeing to see me here in London.
Good to see you. It's been 10 years.
It has been 10 years since I came to Jerusalem, yeah.
A lot of things have happened.
A lot has changed. A lot has changed. Instead, Israel is in turmoil. Is this your biggest challenge right now?
Will last between the three branches of...
He didn't even... I don't think he even asked Netanyahu in an interview pre-October the 7th about the two-state solution. I think that that's enough for me today because I've got to call Isaac now and pre-plan the stream, the podcast. We're having an exciting guest on. So, yeah, no, I've got sweaty feet. I'm too warm. But thank you all for coming. Thank you all for watching. And thank you for all your incredibly kind donations today. I hope you have a lovely, lovely, lovely rest of the day. Thank you as always. Join the Discord if you haven't already. But thank you. Thank you. And I'm sorry to end it in that kind of way, but I'm just so tired. And yesterday really took it out of me. But yeah, have a lovely rest of the day. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll be back live. So yeah, thank you. Lovely, lovely rest of the day. Thank you as always. Join the Discord if you haven't already. But thank you. Thank you. And I'm sorry to end it in that kind of way, but I'm just so tired. And yesterday really took it out of me. But yeah, have a